The first thing I noticed was the silence, not the normal kind, not the late night low we sometimes get after midnight. This was heavier, like the room itself was holding its breath. I checked the clock on my screen. 1:42 a.m. Graveyard shift. Usually by this time there's something drunk calls small accidents, people arguing in the background, noise, life. But that night, the lines have been quiet for almost 20 minutes straight. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when your job is to listen to people at their worst, silence starts to feel wrong. I adjusted my headset and leaned back in my chair. The glow from the monitors painted everything in that soft blue light that makes time feel slower. Around me, a few other dispatchers sat in their cubicles, heads down, voices low. Someone coughed. Someone else typed too fast. Normal sounds. Still, something felt off. I tried to ignore it. Unit 12, status check. Someone said a few rows over. Code for a voice crackle back. Everything working. Everything routine. That helped. A little. I reached for my coffee, now cold, and took a sip anyway. It tasted bitter. Old. Like I'd been sitting there longer than I actually had. That's when the line lit up. No ringtone at first. Just a small blink on my screen. Incoming call. I straightened up and clicked in. 911, what's your emergency? For a second, there was nothing. No voice. No movement. Not even breathing. Just open air. I glanced at the call timer. It was running. Someone was definitely on the line. Hello? I said again, a little firmer. This is 911. Can you hear me? Still nothing. I leaned forward, adjusted my headset slightly, like maybe I'd hear something if I got closer. Sometimes callers freeze up. Sometimes they're scared. It happens. Please say something, I said softly. I'm here to help you. That's when I heard it. A faint sound. So quiet I almost missed it. Breathing. Slow. Careful. Like someone trying not to be heard. My fingers paused above the keyboard. Okay, I can hear you, I said, keeping my voice calm. You're doing good. Just tell me what's going on. The breathing stopped. Not faded. Stopped, like it had never been there. A small chill ran my arms. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe the caller moved the phone. Maybe it brushed against something. Are you in danger? I asked. Silence. I quickly started typing, flagging the call as open line. My eyes flicked to the location field. Blank. No automatic address. No GPS ping. That was unusual. Even weak signals usually give something. A tower, a rough area. This one gave me nothing at all. Just an empty space where data should be. Can you tell me where you are? I asked. Even a street name, anything helps. For a moment, I thought the call had dropped. Then, a voice. Low, dry. You already know. I froze. It wasn't loud. It wasn't aggressive. But it didn't sound right. There was no panic in it. No urgency. Just calm. Too calm. I'm sorry, I said, leaning closer. I need your location so I can send help. A pause. Then the same voice. Slightly clearer this time. You already know where I am. My eyes moved back to the screen. Still blank. No, I don't, I said, keeping my tone steady. That's why I'm asking. I can't see your location from here. Another pause. I could hear that breathing again. Closer now, like the caller had lifted the phone. You can, he said quietly. The way he said it made my chest tighten. Not arguing. Not confused. Certain. I swallowed and forced myself to stay focused. People say strange things under stress. You learn not to react to every word. Okay, I said, let's do this step by step. Tell me what's around you. Silence. Then a faint sound in the background. A creak, like a floorboard shifting underweight. I sat up straighter. Are you inside a building? I asked. No answer. Another creak. This time longer. Something moving. Slow. My fingers hovered over the dispatch panel. If I could just get something, anything, I could send a unit to sweep nearby areas. Is someone with you? I asked. The breathing came back again. But this time it wasn't steady. It was uneven, like the caller was smiling. I don't know why I thought that. There's no sound for a smile, but something in the rhythm of that breath, it felt wrong. Yes, he said. A small relief hit me. Finally, something clear. Okay, good, I said quickly. Are they threatening you? Another creak. Closer now. No, he said. My relief faded just as fast. Then why did you call 911? I asked. Silence stretched again, long enough that I started to think he wouldn't answer. Then, because you picked up. My hand tightened on the desk. What does that mean? I asked. No response. Just that breathing. I glanced around the room for a second. Everything still looked normal. Other dispatchers on their calls. Screens glowing. Quiet murmurs. No one else seemed to notice anything. I turned back to my screen. Listen, I said, firmer now. If you need help, I need clear information. Otherwise, I can't. You sound tired. The words cut me off. My throat went dry. That's not relevant. I said, a little sharper than before. Stay focused. Tell me your emergency. You've been on shift for... He paused, like he was thinking. For hours now. My heart skipped. I checked the clock without meaning to. 1:48 a.m. I had started at 10. For hours. It was a guess. It had to be a guess. Sir, I said, keeping my voice controlled, I need you to. You don't like the coffee there, he continued, almost casually. Too bitter. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My eyes slowly moved to the cup sitting beside my keyboard. Cold. Half full. I hadn't said anything about it. Hadn't reacted out loud. Who is this? I asked quietly. The line went silent again. No breathing. No movement. Just empty air. For a second, I thought the call had ended. I checked the timer. Still going. Hello, I said, softer now. Are you still there? Nothing. I leaned back slightly, my heart beating a little faster than before. Maybe it was a prank. People do that sometimes. They try to scare dispatchers. Say weird things. Pretend. But this didn't feel like that. There was no laughter. No background noise. No slip. Just control. I hovered my hand over the trace request option. Sir, I said, try one more time. If you don't respond, I'll have to disconnect the call. A few seconds passed. Then, don't. The word came out fast. Sharp. The first real emotion I'd heard. Fear. I leaned forward again. Then help me understand, I said gently. What's happening there? A long pause. Then, quieter than before. He's still here. A cold feeling settled in my chest. Who is? I asked. The line crackled slightly. For a brief second, I thought I heard something else. Another breath. Not his. Behind him. Faint. Close. You know him, the caller whispered. My skin prickled. No, I said quickly. I don't. You need to tell me. The line went dead. Just like that. No warning. No click. Just silence. I stared at the screen. Call ended. 1:52 a.m. I didn't move for a few seconds. My headset suddenly felt heavier on my ears. I exhaled slowly and rubbed my forehead. Just a strange call. That's all. It happens. Still, something about it stayed with me. The way he spoke. The things he knew. I shook my head and reached for the next incoming line. Work doesn't stop. It never does. But as I clicked into the next call, I noticed something. My screen, the previous call log, was still open. Normally, it clears right away. This one didn't. And in the location field, something had appeared. Not an address. Not coordinates. Just 2 words, typed out slowly, like they were being written in real time. Still here. My breath caught. I stared at it, waiting, hoping it would disappear. It didn't. And for the first time that night, I had the feeling the call hadn't really ended. I didn't close the call log. I should have. That's what we're trained to do. Clear it, move on, take the next emergency like nothing happened. Keep the line clean. Keep your head clean. But those 2 words sat there on my screen. Still here. They didn't blink. They didn't glitch. They just stayed. I told myself it was a system delay. A bug. Maybe someone in IT pushed something wrong. It happens more than people think. Still, my fingers didn't move. I stare at the letters like they might change if I waited long enough. They didn't. 911, what's your emergency? My own voice snapped me out of it. I had already answered another call. I didn't even remember clicking it. A woman was crying on the other end. Something about a noise outside her apartment. I followed the script, asked the right questions, sent a unit. My voice sounded normal. Too normal. Like nothing had happened. But the whole time, I could still see it. Out of the corner of my eye. Still here. When the call ended, I exhaled slowly and forced myself to focus. I moved the mouse toward the log to finally clear it. Before I could click, the text changed. Not erased. Changed. My hand froze. The letters shifted one by one, like someone typing slowly. Why didn't you hang up? My chest tightened. No one should be able to write there. That field pulls from the system automatically. It's not a chat box. It's not even editable from our end. I looked around. Same room, same people, same low voices. No one looking at me. No one reacting. I swallowed and clicked into the system panel. Pulling up the technical details of the last call. Caller ID, unavailable. Location, unresolved. Duration, for minutes, 32 seconds. Nothing unusual on paper, except it hadn't felt like 4 minutes. It felt longer. I don't know how to explain that. Like time stretched inside the call, then snapped back the moment it ended. I rubbed my hands together and tried to steady myself. Focus, I whispered under my breath. Another line lit up. I hesitated for a second. Then I answered. 911, what's your emergency? Silence. My stomach dropped. Not again. I checked the call timer. Running. Open line. No. I muttered quietly, more to myself than the caller. Hello. I said, louder now. This is 911. Can you hear me? For a moment, nothing. Then, you picked up again. The same voice. Flat. Calm. Like we hadn't just been disconnected. My fingers went cold. How did you? I stopped myself. Sir, if this is a repeat call, I need you to... You didn't hang up, he said. His tone didn't change. It never did. That was the worst part. No anger. No fear. Just certainty. That call ended. I said, trying to keep control of the conversation. If you need help, I need your location. A soft sound came through. Not breathing this time. Something lighter, like fabric shifting. You saw it, he said. I didn't answer. You saw the words. My grip tightened on the headset. That wasn't possible. I hadn't said anything out loud. Not about the screen. Not about the message. Sir, I said carefully, are you alone? A pause. Then, no. The word came out softer this time. Quieter. Almost thoughtful. Who's with you? I asked. Another pause. Longer. Then, you. The word hit me in a way I didn't expect. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just placed there. Like a fact. I'm here, I said quickly, correcting him. I'm on the line with you. That's all. No, he said. Another small sound in the background. That same creak. Closer than before. You're closer. My heart started beating faster. I adjusted in my chair, suddenly aware of the space behind me. The low hum of computers. The faint air conditioning. Normal sounds. Still, I didn't turn around. I don't know why. Tell me your name, I said, trying to regain control. Let's start there. Silence. Then, you already know it. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it felt like the only normal reaction left. I don't, I said. That's the point. You haven't told me anything useful. A faint exhale came through the line. Not quite a sigh. More like disappointment. You used to say it differently, he said. My brows pulled together. What? My name, he said. You said it softer. A strange feeling crept into my chest. Like something I couldn't quite remember, brushing against the edge of my mind. I think you have a wrong person, I said. I don't, he replied immediately. No hesitation. No doubt. You sit in the third row, he continued. Left side. near the wall. My eyes flicked up, without thinking. That was exactly where I was. My throat went dry. You have a small crack on your desk, he said, near your right hand. You trace it when you're thinking. My fingers slowly pulled back from the desk. I hadn't even noticed I was doing it. How do you know that? I asked for the first time. He didn't answer right away. The silence stretched. Then quietly, because I've been here longer than you. A cold wave moved through me. I forced myself to breathe. In, out. This had to be a prank. Someone inside the building. Someone watching. Maybe a co-worker messing with me. It wasn't impossible. I glanced around again. Everyone looked normal. No one watching me. No one smiling. No one on a phone that matched this call. Okay, I said, trying a different approach. If you're in this building, you need to identify yourself. This is not a joke. I called before you started your shift. The words cut through me. I stopped talking. You just didn't answer. A memory flickered. Brief. Small. Like a shadow moving behind glass. Earlier that night, when I first sat down, there had been a missed call notification. Just one. No details. I had cleared it without thinking. What time? I asked quietly. No answer. Instead, you almost didn't come tonight. My chest tightened again. That's not relevant. I said quickly. You stood at your door, he continued, ignoring me. Keys in your hand. You thought about calling in sick. My heart started to pound. That was true. I hadn't told anyone. I hadn't even said it out loud. It was just a thought. A passing one. I need you to stop, I said, my voice lower now. This is not appropriate. If you need help, say it clearly. Another creak. Louder this time. Not from the phone. From somewhere in the room. My eyes shifted just slightly. I still didn't turn. He's closer now, the caller whispered. A chill ran up my spine. Who? I asked. My voice felt thinner, smaller. No answer, just breathing. Then, he doesn't like when you ignore him. I swallowed. My mouth felt dry. I'm not ignoring anyone. I said. A pause. Then, you are right now. The words settled in the space around me. Heavy, real. For a second, I considered it, turning around, just to prove it wrong, just to show myself there was nothing there, but something in me resisted, not fear, not exactly, more like instinct, the kind that tells you not to look. What does he want? I asked. The question came out before I could stop it. Another pause, then, you to remember. The line crackled softly. Remember what? Silence, long, uncomfortable. Then, you said you would. A tight feeling built in my chest. I don't know what you're talking about. I said. You will, he replied. Calm again, flat again, like the moment had passed. The creaking stopped. The room felt normal again, or at least closer to it. My shoulders dropped slightly. A small, brief relief. Listen, I said, trying to ground myself. If this is about something real, you should check the door. My breath caught. What door? No answer. You know which one. My eyes slowly moved toward the far end of the room. There was a door there. Emergency exit. Closed. Always closed. No one ever used it during shifts. I stared at it. It looked normal. Nothing moving. Nothing strange. I'm not leaving my station. I said. You don't have to. His voice dropped slightly. Lower. He already did. A sharp, sudden tone cut through my headset. Call ended. I sat there, frozen. The silence came back. Heavier than before. Slowly, I looked back at my screen. The call log was still open. The location field flickered once. Then changed. New words. Simple. Cold. Turn around. I didn't turn around. Not right away. My body locked in place, like something deep inside me refused to move. The words on the screen didn't blink. They just sat there, quiet and patient. Turn around. I stared at them, waiting for them to disappear the way normal glitches do. They didn't. The room behind me felt different, not louder, not darker, just aware. I could still hear the others. Keyboards tapping. Someone shifting in their chair. A soft cough somewhere on my right. Normal sounds. But now they felt far away. Like I was sitting inside something separate. I forced a breath in, slow and steady, and finally, I turned, just enough to look over my shoulder. The room looked exactly the same. Rows of desks. Screens glowing. People working. No one standing behind me. No one even close enough to reach me. The emergency exit door at the far end was still shut. Nothing moved. For a second, I almost laughed. Not out loud. Just that small, quiet release inside your chest when your fear realizes it might have been wrong. See, I whispered to myself. Nothing. I turned back to my screen. The words were gone. The location field was empty again. A strange mix of relief and confusion settled in. Maybe that was it. Maybe my brain just filled in the gaps. Long shift. Too quiet. One strange call. And suddenly everything feels off. It happens. I rubbed my eyes and leaned back, letting my shoulders drop. The tension eased. Just a little. Then, a sound. Soft. Right in my ear. You looked. My body went cold. I didn't move. The voice wasn't coming from the room. It was inside the headset. Clear. Close. Too close. The line was still open. My eyes snapped to the screen. Call status. Ended. No active connection. No timer. Nothing. And yet, you shouldn't have, he whispered. My fingers trembled as I grabbed the headset slightly, pressing it tighter against my ear like that would somehow change what I was hearing. This isn't possible, I said under my breath. No one responded around me. No one noticed. Hello, I said louder now, forcing my voice steady. If this line is active, identify yourself. A faint breath came through, slow, measured. Then, you hear me now. I pulled up the call panel again, frantically checking every field. No incoming call. No outgoing call. Nothing connected. You're not on the system, I said, more to myself than to him. A pause. Then, I never left. The words pressed into my ears. Not loud, but heavy. I swallowed and quickly toggled the headset off for a second. Silence. The room rushed back in. Typing. Voices. Air conditioning. Normal. I exhaled sharply. Then I switched it back on. Don't do that again. The voice came back instantly. Same place. Same distance. Like it had been waiting. My chest tightened. You can't be here, I said quietly. That call ended. Another soft creak came through. Not from the room. From somewhere else. Somewhere closer. You think it ended, he said. My eyes flicked to the call log again. Still there. Still frozen. But you're still listening. A strange realization hit me. Slow. Uncomfortable. He was right. Even after the call ended, I hadn't disconnected. Not really. My hand hovered over the system reset button. If I restarted the console, it would clear everything. Reset the lines. Break any lingering connection. Simple fix. I'd done it before, but my hand didn't press it. Why? I asked. The question slipped out before I could stop it. Why me? Silence. For a moment, I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, because you stayed. A faint shift in the background, like weight moving. You listened longer than the others. My heart skipped. The others? I asked. Another pause. Then, they hang up faster. A chill moved through me. How many? I asked. No answer. Just breathing. Slow. Steady. I glanced around again, searching for something, anything, that could ground me back in reality. Everyone still looked normal. Focused. Unaware. I opened a private channel to one of my co-workers. Hey, I typed, you hearing anything weird on your line? A few seconds passed. Then a reply. No. Why? I stared at the message. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. What was I supposed to say? There's a voice in my headset after the call ended. I deleted the message draft. Closed the chat. They can't hear me, he said softly. I froze. I hadn't spoken out loud. You didn't answer them, he continued. You don't want them to know. My throat went dry. You're not real. I said, trying to anchor myself. You're just a glitch. Audio feedback. Something stuck in the system. A faint sound came through. Not quite a laugh, but close. If I'm not real, he whispered. Then who said your name? My breath caught. What? Silence. Then, say it. My chest tightened. Say what? A pause. Then, clearer than before, my name. I shook my head slowly. I don't know your name. Another creak. Closer. You do. Something shifted in my memory again. That same feeling from earlier, like a word just out of reach. Like something I had heard before, but couldn't place. I don't, I said. You used to. My fingers curled slightly against the desk. I think you have the wrong person. I don't. The certainty in his voice didn't change. It never changed, and that made it worse. Then tell me, I said, just say it. A long pause followed, the longest one yet. The breathing faded. The background noise disappeared. For a moment, it felt like I was alone again, completely. Then, no, the word came out soft, almost gentle. You have to remember it. My chest felt tight. Why? Another pause. Then, because he remembers you. A sudden, sharp chill ran down my spine. Who? I asked quickly, but the voice didn't answer. Instead, I heard something else. Not through the headset, not through the room. Something behind me. A faint shift, a subtle movement, like fabric brushing against air. Slow, deliberate. My body went completely still. I didn't turn. I couldn't. He's right there, the voice whispered. My heart started pounding, loud enough I could hear in my ears. Stop, I said quietly. No response. The movement behind me stopped, just as suddenly as it started. Silence filled the space again. Thick, heavy. I forced a breath in, then out. I'm going to reset the system, I said, more to myself than him. No answer. My hand moved back to the console, hovered over the reset. If you do, he said softly, you'll lose the call. My fingers paused. That's the point, I said. A small pause. Then, you won't hear him anymore. The words landed differently. Not threatening, not urgent, just true. And for some reason, that felt worse. I swallowed. Good, I said, though my voice felt weaker now. Another pause. Then you'll never know why he's here. My hand stayed exactly where it was. Frozen. The room felt quieter again, like everything was waiting. You wanted to know, he continued. You asked. My chest tightened. He was right. I had asked, and now, I wasn't sure I wanted the answer. Say my name, he whispered. The words brushed against my ear, closer than before, right at the edge of hearing. Just once. I closed my eyes for a second. Something inside me shifted. That same memory. Closer now, like it was trying to surface. A sound, a voice, a name. I opened my eyes slowly. My lips parted, and before I could stop myself, I said it, quiet, barely a whisper. The moment it left my mouth, the headset went completely silent. No breathing, no movement, nothing, just empty air. For a second, relief washed over me. It was over. Whatever this was, it was done. I let out a slow breath. My shoulders dropped. And then, the system screen flickered. Just once. The call log updated. Call status. Active. My heart stopped. A new line appeared under it. Not typed. Not delayed. Instant. Caller name. Mine. My stomach dropped. I stared at it. Unable to move. Unable to think. And then, very softly, through the headset, I heard my own voice. You stayed. The address kept changing on my screen. Not flickering. Not glitching. Changing. 1 second it was 14, Hollow Street. Next second it became 14, Hollow Road. Then just blank. No record found. I slowed the cruiser near the intersection and checked the GPS again. Same result. No registered location, the system said. That shouldn't happen. Not in this district. Every street, every house, even abandoned lots, everything is mapped. I tapped the radio. Dispatch, confirm address again. Static first. Then her voice came through, calm like always. Unit 6, respond to 14, Hollow Street. Priority call. Possible disturbance. I looked out through the windshield. The street ahead was empty. No street sign. No house numbers. Just a narrow road stretching into a darker stretch of trees. I don't have that location on my map, I said. A short pause. That pause felt longer than it should have. Then dispatch replied, "It's on your route, officer. Proceed." I frowned. My dashboard GPS blinked again. Now it showed a point ahead, but it wasn't stable. It kept shifting a few meters left, then right, like it couldn't decide where the house was. I've been doing patrols for 8 years. I've seen system bugs. I've seen false calls. But I've never seen a place refuse to exist. Still, I turned the wheel. The cruiser moved forward slowly. The trees on both sides started closing in. The streetlights became fewer. The air outside looked thicker somehow, like dust hanging in place even though nothing was moving. My radio crackled again. This time, not dispatch. A caller. Female voice. Breathing heavy. Please hurry," she said. I leaned forward. "This is Officer Malik. I'm on my way. Stay on the line." "What's happening?" Silence for half a second. Then, "They're inside already." My grip tightened on the wheel. "Who was inside?" I asked. No answer. Just faint shuffling through the line, like she was walking barefoot on wood. Then a sound. A door creaking. Slow. Long. "Ma'am," I said sharply. "Stay where you are." "I am," she whispered. Another pause. Then something that made my stomach drop. "I think you're outside now." I hit the brakes. The cruiser rolled to a stop. I looked up. The road ahead ended. Not into a building. Not into a gate. It ended into nothing. Just trees. No house. No lights. No address marker. I checked the GPS again quickly. It now showed, "You have arrived." But there was nothing here. Just forest. I exhaled slowly. "This is wrong," I muttered. Radio crackled again. "Dispatch. Officer Malik. Confirm visual on structure." I looked around. "There is no structure," I said. "Repeat, no house. Location is empty." A long silence followed. Too long. Then dispatch said something I didn't expect. "That's impossible." I frowned. "What do you mean impossible?" No answer. Just static. Then the radio switched channels by itself. I didn't touch it. It just changed. The caller came back. Her breathing closer now. Too close. "Don't leave," she said. "I haven't even entered." I replied. A soft sound came through, like a laugh, but broken. "No," she said. "You already did." My eyes narrowed. I stepped out of the cruiser. The night air hit differently here. Heavier. Colder than it should have been for this season. I pulled my flashlight from the belt and clicked it on. The beam cut through the trees. At first, nothing. Then I saw it. A gap between the trunks. Too clean, like the forest had been split open. I walked closer. Slow. Each step crunching on dry leaves that felt older than they should be. And then it appeared. A house. But not fully formed. Like someone had tried to draw it and stopped halfway. The walls were there, but faint. The windows looked like dark smudges instead of glass. The door stood slightly open, not moving, just waiting. My radio hissed again. "Dispatch. Officer Malik. Report status." I didn't answer right away, because I was staring at something else. My flashlight beam hit the house number plate. It was scratched, almost unreadable, but I could still make it out. 14 Hollow Street. I checked my GPS again instinctively. Still no record of it. Still says nothing exists here. I took a slow breath. Visual confirmed. I said into the radio, "Structure is present, but not registered." Silence. Then dispatch replied, "Copy that." But her voice sounded different, slightly off, like she wasn't reading from the same script anymore. I moved closer to the house. Every step felt like the ground was softer than it should be, like it might give way. The door creaked slightly in the wind. but there was no wind. I stopped at the entrance. My flashlight beam went inside. The living room was visible, barely. Furniture shapes covered in dust. A couch turned slightly toward the wall. A TV that looked too old to still exist. And something on the floor. Footprints, barefoot, moving from the hallway toward the door, then stopping, right where I was standing. I froze. "Ma'am!" I called out. No answer, just silence. Then the radio cracked again. But this time, it wasn't dispatch. It was her, the caller, right next to my ear. "Don't come in," she whispered. I stepped back instantly. "Where are you?" I asked sharply. No answer. Instead, the house light flickered. Once, then again, like something inside had noticed me. The door moved slightly wider, just a few centimeters, but enough to show more of the hallway. I saw something new, a reflection, in a cracked mirror on the wall. Someone standing behind me. I spun around fast. Nothing, just trees, empty road. But my radio didn't stop. Now her voice was shaking. "You shouldn't have come alone," she said. My throat tightened. "I didn't come alone," I replied automatically. But even as I said it, I realized something. There was no backup unit, no second patrol, no second signal. Just me, and the house, and the voice. I looked back at the doorway. The interior felt darker now, like the house was pulling the light in. "Dispatch!" I said quickly into the radio. "Send back up to my location. I need..." Static cut me off. Then a new voice came through. Not dispatch. Not the caller. Mine. "Backup isn't coming." I froze. That wasn't my voice. But it sounded exactly like me. Same tone. Same breath. Even the same hesitation. My flashlight flickered. Once. Twice. Then steadied. I raised it again toward the door. And I saw something in the hallway. A silhouette. Standing perfectly still. Watching me. The radio went silent. No static. No voices. Just dead air. And in that silence, I heard footsteps inside the house. Slow. Approaching the door. I took a step back instinctively. My hand tightened on the grip of my flashlight. And then, the door opened fully. And the voice came out again. Not through the radio this time. Not through my headset. Directly from inside the house. Soft. Close. Familiar. Officer Malik. I didn't answer. Because I was still trying to understand one thing. The voice sounded like me. But I wasn't the one speaking. The moment the door fully opened, the house felt awake. Not alive. Awake. Like it had been waiting for me to stop outside long enough to finally notice it breathing. I didn't move right away. My flashlight stayed fixed on the hallway. But the beam felt weaker now. Not dimmer. Just swallowed faster. Like the air inside the house was eating the light before it could travel. Dust fell slightly from the ceiling. Then silence again. But now the house felt different. Not emptier. More focused. Like everything inside it had turned its attention toward the hallway where I was standing. I stepped back slightly from the door. My hand still on the handle. Then the radio in my ear crackled. For the first time since entering. Dispatch. But the voice was wrong. Not the usual calm tone. This one was slower. Heavier. "Officer Malik," it said. I froze. "Yes," I replied immediately. A pause. Then, "You are inside now." I swallowed. "Yes." Another pause. Then, "Confirmed number of occupants." I looked at the hallway, at the stairs, at the doors, at the empty rooms that clearly weren't empty. And for the first time in my career, I didn't know how to answer that question, because every time I looked, something had changed again. The left room door was now closed. The right room door was open, and the stairs, the shadow was back, standing still, watching. And this time, it didn't disappear when I aimed the flashlight at it. It just stood there, waiting. And from behind the right room door, the whisper came again, closer than before. "Don't trust dispatch." My grip tightened, because now I realized something worse. The voice guiding me from inside the house knew exactly what dispatch had just asked me. The stairs were still there. The shadow was still there. But neither of them mattered anymore. Because behind me, the front door creaked open again. Slow, controlled, like someone who already knew exactly where I was standing. I didn't turn immediately. My body didn't want to. That feeling inside my chest had changed now. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was recognition. Like something in this house was starting to feel familiar in the worst possible way. Officer Malik. The voice came again. Not from the radio. Not from upstairs. From the entrance. Right behind me. I finally turned. And that's when my brain stopped making sense of what I saw. Another police officer was standing in the doorway. Same uniform. Same badge. Same posture. Even the same flashlight hanging from his belt. But the worst part, it was my face. Exact. Every detail. Same eyes. Same tired expression. Same small scar near the eyebrow I got 3 years ago during a riot call. I couldn't breathe for a second. My mind tried to reject it instantly. No, this wasn't possible. Who are you? I asked, even though I already knew the answer felt wrong. The other me stepped inside slowly. The door stayed open behind him, like it was happy to let him in. I already told you, he said. My voice, but not my tone. Calmer, more controlled, like I had been trained better. I'm back up, he continued. I took a step back without realizing it. My flashlight shook slightly in my hand. No, I said firmly. That's not possible. There was no dispatch request sent. He tilted his head slightly. Same movement I do when I'm thinking. I came anyway, he said. A strange silence filled the hallway. The house felt different now, like it had more weight in it, more presence. The stairs behind me creaked again. I didn't look this time, because my focus couldn't leave him. Identify yourself, I said again, voice sharper now. He smiled slightly, and that made my stomach drop, because I don't smile like that. Not on duty. Not ever. You're still trying to make sense of it, he said softly. That's good. My grip tightened on my flashlight. Answer the question. He stepped forward one more step. Now he was fully inside the house. The door behind him slowly started closing on its own. No wind, no force, just moving like it had finished its job. I am you, he said simply. My jaw clenched. That's not an answer. He looked around the hallway slowly, at the stairs, at the rooms, at the shadows that didn't stay still anymore. I'm the part of you that stayed longer, he added. That sentence hit something deep, something uncomfortable. I shook my head slightly. You're not real, I said. He didn't react, not even a flicker of emotion. That's what you said about the house, too, he replied. My chest tightened. I didn't answer that, because I couldn't. The radio in my vest suddenly crackled again. I flinched slightly. Dispatch. But the voice was different again. Slower. Heavier. Unit confirmation received. It said. I looked down at my radio. I hadn't sent anything. No, I said quickly. I didn't report backup. The other me spoke at the same time. I did. My head snapped toward him. You can't transmit from my unit, I said. He looked at me calmly. I can, he replied, and I already did. A cold realization started forming in my chest. Slow, unwanted. I stepped back again. Now I was between two things. The stairs behind me, and him in front of me. Both watching, both waiting. You're impersonating an officer, I said, trying to regain control. That's a felony. Step outside the house now. He nodded slightly, like I had said something expected. I know the protocol, he said. That made my stomach twist, because he said it like I did, not like he was learning it, like he had always known it. From inside the house, a new sound appeared. Footsteps, but not random, organized, multiple, coming from upstairs and the left room at the same time. I looked briefly, just for a second, and I saw it, doors opening and closing on their own, slow, one by one, like the house was breathing through them. When I looked back at him, he had moved closer, too close, now only a few steps away. Stop, I said quietly. He did, but not because I told him to, because something behind me had changed. The stairs were no longer empty. There was another shadow now, standing at the top, watching both of us. I felt my throat tighten. How many of you are there? I asked without meaning to. The first copy of me glanced upward, then back at me. Depends on how long you stay, he said. My mind went cold. That doesn't make sense. It will, he replied. Then the radio burst again, this time louder. Dispatch. But it wasn't dispatch anymore. It was multiple voices layered together, overlapping. Confirm units on scene. Duplicate officer detected. Do not engage. The transmission cut in and out like something was interfering with it from inside the house itself. I raised my radio quickly. Dispatch! I need extraction now, I said firmly. There is an impersonation situation and structural anomaly. Silence. Then the same voice came back, but now it sounded exactly like mine. Calm. Controlled. Controlled. I told you, it said. You already sent extraction. My blood ran cold. I looked at the other version of me. He nodded slightly. Yes, he said. They're outside now. My head snapped toward the door, the front entrance. Through the glass panels, I saw headlights, multiple patrol cars, parked, silent, no movement, no radio chatter, no officers stepping out, just vehicles sitting perfectly still like they had been waiting there the whole time. I hadn't called them. I hadn't even touched the radio. Why are they not responding? I asked quietly. The copy of me took another step forward. Because they're not here for you, he said. My breath slowed. Then who? The house answered before he did. A sound from every room at once. Footsteps, all synchronized now. No randomness anymore. Just rhythm. Like something had finally decided to move as one system. The shadows in the hallway stretched slightly. Not because of light. Because something inside them was getting closer. I stepped back instinctively. My heel hit the bottom stair. I was trapped in the middle now, between upstairs, behind, and him. The copy of me tilted his head again. You're starting to see it, he said quietly. See what? I asked. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pointed at my radio. Check the log, he said. My hands hesitated. Then I looked. The screen had updated again. Call status. Active, but not for the house. Not for dispatch. For me, Officer Malik, connected. My chest tightened hard. No, I whispered. The copy stepped closer. You were never responding to a call, he said. You were the call. Behind me, the stairs creaked again. I didn't turn this time, because I already understood something I didn't want to accept. There wasn't a second unit. There never had been, and the footsteps filling every room. They weren't people moving through the house. They were versions of me, arriving, one after another. And the worst part, the copy in front of me lowered his voice slightly, almost gently. You're the last one who still thinks you're alone. The radio clicked once more, and a new voice came through. Soft, familiar, mine, but not from the copy, from somewhere inside the house. Welcome to the unit. The line lit up again. No ring, no alert tone, just a single blink on my screen like it had been waiting there longer than I had. Incoming call. But something about it felt wrong immediately. Not because of the system, because of the silence behind it. I clicked it. 911, what's your emergency? Nothing. No voice. No static. Just faint breathing. Slow, careful, like someone was trying not to exist too loudly. I leaned forward slightly. Hello? I said again. This is emergency services. Can you hear me? The breathing didn't stop. It didn't change either. That was the first strange thing. Normally, callers react. Panic, crying, confusion. Even silence has a kind of emotion in it. But this was empty, like a body still working without a person inside it. I checked the screen. No location data. No tower ping. Just blank. That shouldn't happen. Even bad signals show something. A flicker, a direction, anything. But this call was floating. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Can you speak? I asked slowly. Then something changed. Not a voice. Not fully. A whisper. So faint it almost felt like it came from the room instead of the headset. Don't. I froze. My eyes flicked up instinctively. The dispatch room was the same as always. Low light, screens glowing, other operators talking quietly into their headsets. Normal night shift sounds. But my body didn't accept it as normal anymore. I leaned back in slightly. What did you say? I asked. Silence again. Then the breathing returned. But now it felt closer. Not physically, just more present, like it had moved from far away to just behind the line of my thoughts. I typed a quick note into the system. Open line, no response, possible prank or distress. But even as I wrote it, I didn't believe it. Pranks usually break pattern. They laugh. They hang up. They try to scare you directly. This didn't. This just stayed. I adjusted my headset. Sir or ma'am, I said firmly, if you are unable to speak, please make any sound. Tap the phone. Anything. A pause. Long enough that I almost thought it disconnected. Then, 3 faint whispers came through. Not from one voice. From multiple. Overlapping. Here. Still. Don't look. My hand stopped moving. That last one hit differently. Don't look. I swallowed. Don't look where. I asked before I could stop myself. Silence again. But now the breathing shifted. It wasn't random anymore. It had rhythm. Like it was reacting to me. Slow inhale. Slow exhale. Almost like it was listening back. I checked the call timer. Still running. Still connected. But no identity. No trace. No source. Just presence. I leaned forward again, lowering my voice. Listen, I said more carefully now. I don't know what's happening on your end, but I need you to stay calm. Help me understand your situation. A soft sound came through, like fabric moving. Then, you already know, my chest tightened slightly. That wasn't a typical response. That wasn't panic. That was recognition. Know what? I asked. No answer. Instead, the whispers returned. Faster now. Layered. Like multiple people speaking at once, but not agreeing on words. I caught fragments. Shift. Still there. She hears it too. My fingers slowly left the keyboard. Something about that last part made my skin tighten. She hears it too. I looked around without meaning to. My co-worker to the left was still typing. Another one was speaking softly into a call. Someone laughed faintly near the back. No one reacting. No one noticing anything strange. But my headset, it felt heavier now, like it was pressing into my ear. Is someone with you? I asked the call. A pause. Then the breathing stopped. Completely. For the first time since the call started. Dead silence. That should have been a relief. But it wasn't, because silence in emergency calls is never empty. It's waiting. Then, a voice. Not clear, not fully formed, but closer than before. Behind you, my body stiffened instantly. I didn't turn. Not yet. Training says never react immediately. Never confirm fear. But my fingers had already gone cold. Sir, I said carefully, voice controlled. If this is a threat, I need you to report. The voice cut through again. Louder this time. Not yelling. Just certain. Behind you. My breath slowed. I forced myself to stay still. My eyes stayed on the screen. On the call. On the empty data field. No location. No identity. Just a live line feeding something into my ear. I spoke again. Slower now. There is no one behind me. I said. Silence. Then, a faint whisper. Closer than the headset. Not through it. Inside it. Turn off the light. My hand moved slightly toward the desk lamp without me thinking. Then I stopped. Something about that request wasn't right. It wasn't fear. It was instruction. Like someone was trying to control what I saw. I didn't move. I can't help you if you don't speak clearly, I said instead. A pause. Then, a sound I didn't expect. A soft inhale. Right against the microphone. Like someone had leaned in too close. Then, you always say that. My throat tightened. That sentence didn't feel random. It felt directed. Personal. I checked the system again quickly. Still no caller ID. Still no location. But something had changed. The call duration was now longer than it should have been. It kept adding seconds, even when no sound came through, like time itself wasn't syncing properly. I leaned forward slightly. Had we spoken before? I asked. A pause. Longer this time. Then a whisper that made my stomach drop. Slightly. Not yet. I frowned. Not yet. The breathing returned. But now it sounded different. Not faint anymore. Not distant. It sounded like it was inside the same room as me. Slow. Steady. Close enough that I could almost match it with my own. I turned my head slightly. Just a small movement. Not fully. Just enough to check my peripheral space. The dispatch room behind me looked normal. Screens. Chairs. Movement. But my headset, it didn't feel like it belonged there anymore. The voice returned again. Quieter now. Almost gentle. You hear it now, don't you? My fingers tightened on the desk. Hear what? I asked. A pause. Then the whispers came back. But this time they weren't random. They were forming something. Almost like a sentence trying to assemble itself. I caught pieces. Call. Still open. She didn't log it. My breath slowed. That wasn't possible. Every call gets logged automatically. Every termination is recorded. Every connection closes cleanly. But I still checked. My eyes dropped to the system panel. Call status. Active. I blinked, then looked again. Same thing. Active. But I had never reopened it. I hadn't touched anything. My mouth went dry. That's not right. I whispered, and immediately the voice responded. Not from the headset, not from the system. From everywhere at once. Soft, calm, certain. It never closed. My hand slowly moved back from a keyboard. Something inside me shifted. Not fear exactly. Something deeper. Like realization trying to form, but refusing to become clear. I spoke again, quieter now. Where you calling from? A pause. Then the final whisper of the chapter came through. Not multiple voices this time. Just one. Clear. Close. Right at the edge of hearing. From where you answer. And then the line went silent. But the screen did not disconnect. The call was still active. And in the reflection of my monitor, I thought I saw my own headset light blink once. Even though I wasn't speaking, the silence didn't last. It never does. Not in this room. Not after a call like that. My finger was still hovering above the keyboard when the headset crackled again. Soft. Careful. Like something was testing whether I was still there. You heard it. My body went still. That wasn't part of the system noise anymore. That was a voice choosing to continue. I didn't answer right away. My eyes stayed locked on the screen. Call still active. No disconnect. No reset. Just a line that refused to die. I forced myself to speak. Identify yourself, I said, but my voice came out lower than I expected. A pause. Then, not one whisper this time. Multiple. Layered. But not chaotic. Controlled. She's listening. Don't scare her yet. She knows. My throat tightened slightly. That last one hit differently. I leaned back in my chair slowly, trying to keep my breathing normal. Around me, the dispatch room still looked the same. Phones ringing, people talking, pens clicking, no one reacting, no one hearing it. Only me. I looked to my left. My co-worker was laughing softly into her headset. She nodded at her screen like she was hearing something completely normal. That made my stomach twist. Because I wasn't. I was hearing something else entirely. I lowered my voice. This is dispatch channel, I said carefully. If this is a prank or interference, it needs to stop immediately. A pause. Then a whisper returned. Closer now. Not through the headset anymore. Through the space around my thoughts. You always say that. My fingers tightened on the desk. That line again. Same tone. Same calm. Like it had known me longer than I wanted it to. I looked at the call log again. Still active. Still no identity. But now something had changed. The waveform indicator on the screen was moving, even when I wasn't speaking. I frowned. That shouldn't happen. Audio input requires signal. But the line was showing activity. Constant, like something was speaking through silence itself. I leaned closer. Where are you? I asked quietly. The response came instantly. Too instantly. Right where you are. My breath paused. Not fear yet. Something slower. Confusion. Because that answer didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a correction. Like I had asked the wrong question. I swallowed and tried again. What do you want? A soft pause. Then the whispers returned. But now they sounded aware. Like they were reacting to each other. She's thinking too much. Let her hear it. No, not yet. My hand slowly moved away from the keyboard. I didn't trust touching anything anymore. My eyes flicked to the headset cable. It looked normal. Completely normal. And that made it worse. Because nothing about what I was hearing matched what I was seeing. I exhaled slowly. Listen, I said, forcing control back into my voice. If you are in distress, I need you to... The line interrupted me. Not loud, not aggressive, just precise. You were going to say, stay calm. I froze. My mouth stayed slightly open. That wasn't a guess. That wasn't coincidence. That was my exact pattern. I sat up slowly. Stop doing that, I said. A pause. Then, you're shaking. My hand, resting on the desk, tightened slightly without permission. I didn't answer. Still no identity. But the waveform looked unstable now. Like something else had joined the line without permission. I don't understand, I said carefully. We have no record of prior incidents. That got a reaction. A short, dry laugh. Not mocking. Just sad. Of course you don't. I frowned. Who are you? I asked again. A pause. Long. Then, we were you. My body went still. I didn't respond immediately. Because something about that sentence didn't feel like a metaphor. It felt like a continuation. I stood up slightly from my chair. Around me, the dispatch room still looked normal, but it felt farther away now, like I was hearing it through water. I lowered my voice. What do you mean you were me? I asked. The voice answered slowly, carefully, like it was choosing which memory to reopen. Same shift, same desk, same call time. My eyes flicked to my monitor again. The system log flickered slightly, then stabilized. Then something new appeared. A tag I didn't add. Prior incident match found. My stomach tightened. No, I whispered. I clicked it immediately. The screen loaded slowly. Too slowly. Then a file opened. Audio log. Date stamped. 3 years ago. 2:17 a.m. My breath slowed. I leaned closer. The recording started. And I heard my own voice. Not mine now, but older, rougher, tired in a different way. 9/11, what's your emergency? My fingers went cold. I looked at the headset instinctively. The recording continued. A child's voice came through. Same one, same tone. Help me. I froze. The audio distorted slightly. Then another voice entered the recording. Not the child. Not dispatch. A third voice. Male. Calm. Controlled. Do not engage further. My eyebrows pulled together. I leaned in. The recording kept going. My past self spoke again. Sir, can you identify a location? Silence. Then the child again. You already know. My breath caught slightly. That exact phrase. I had heard it tonight. The recording continued. Now chaotic. Static rising. Then multiple voices layered in. Whispers. Overlapping. And then a scream. Not loud. Not sharp. Cut off too quickly. Like something removed at mid-sound. The recording ended. Silence. Then file closed automatically. My hands were shaking slightly now. I stepped back from the desk. That's not possible, I whispered. Behind me, the voice came back. It happened. I turned slightly. No, I said firmly. That file is corrupted. The voice didn't respond immediately. Then, we didn't finish the report last time either. My chest tightened. I stared at the screen. Who is we? I asked slowly. A pause. Then, those who stayed on the line too long. My fingers slowly moved toward the keyboard. I didn't type. I just hovered. Something inside me didn't want to continue this path. But something else already had. I looked at the system again. The call was still active, still 2:17 a.m., still open, but now a new connection indicator had appeared. Not one, two, one labeled unknown call, and another labeled unit connected. My breath slowed. What unit? I whispered. The voice responded instantly. Ours. I turned fully toward the screen now. The system flickered again. Then a new notification appeared. Incoming unit report. I hesitated, then clicked it. A dispatch window opened, and for a second, I thought I saw myself on the screen. But not me sitting here. Me in a different position. Sitting at the same desk. Same headset. Same face. But older, tired, and looking directly at me. I stepped back. No, I whispered. The image distorted, then changed. Now it was a written report, filed automatically. Case reopened. Child call at 2:17 a.m. My eyes scanned it quickly, then froze at the next line. Responding unit. Malik. My name, but not mine now. Attached to something I never signed. I stepped back again. What is this? I said aloud. The headset answered softly. This is where we respond. My chest tightened. Respond to what? I asked. Silence. Then, the part that doesn't end. Behind me, the dispatch room suddenly felt colder. Not physically, just emotionally, like attention had shifted slightly toward me. I slowly turned my head. Other operators still working, still unaware, still normal. But one of them, for a fraction of a second, looked at me, not briefly, not casually, like they recognized something they shouldn't, then looked away immediately. My breath slowed. I turned back to the screen. The voice returned again. Closer now. You're remembering. I shook my head. I've never done this call before. I said firmly. A pause. Then, you did, just not alone. My stomach tightened. What happened? I asked quietly. The answer came slowly, like it had been waiting years to be spoken again. You answered, then another you answered, then another. I felt a cold weight settle in my chest. That doesn't make sense, I said. The voice replied softly. It does when the call never stops. The screen flickered again, and this time, a final line appeared. Not system generated, not log based, just plain text. We are still here. My fingers went numb, because I realized something I didn't want to realize. This wasn't a recurring call. This was a loop, and I was not the first dispatcher sitting in it. Just the next one still trying to believe I was alone. The screen didn't just flicker this time. It split, like the system couldn't hold itself together anymore. One moment I was staring at the active call log, and the next it blurred into two overlapping versions of the same screen. Same timestamp, same 2:17 a.m. But now something else was added beneath it. Live audio feed, unstable. My throat went dry. I didn't click anything. It opened itself, and the child's voice exploded through my headset. But it wasn't the calm voice anymore. It was screaming, raw, panicked, right in my ear. No, don't open IT, please. I shot upright so fast my chair rolled back. My heart slammed hard against my chest. Hello, I shouted instinctively. Stay on the line. Talk to me. But the scream didn't answer me. It wasn't responding anymore. It was reacting. Something in real time. Metal scraping filled the audio. Fast. Violent. Like something heavy dragging across a floor. Then the child again. But broken now. Cut between breaths. It's in, it's IN. My hands froze on the desk. I looked around the dispatch room instantly. No one reacted. No alarms. No alerts. Just me. Only me hearing it. Where are you? I said into the mic, voice tightening. Tell me your location. The answer came instantly, but it wasn't the child anymore. A whisper, deep in the same line. She's here. My stomach dropped. I leaned closer. What does that mean? I demanded. The system crackled violently. Not static. Something worse. Like the line itself was being torn. Then, a loud bang came through the audio. So sharp I flinched. The child screamed again. But this time it wasn't just fear. It was pain. and something moving fast in the background. Heavy footsteps. Inside a small space. A room. Close. Too close. I stood up fully now. Stay calm. I shouted into the headset. I'm sending units right now. My fingers flew to the keyboard, but the system didn't respond. Every command I entered returned blank. No response. No routing. Nothing. Like the network had stopped accepting me. The child's voice came back weaker now. Fading. Don't let it see me. My chest tightened painfully. What is it? I said loudly. Silence. Then a new sound. Not from the child. From the room itself. The audio feed changed. It wasn't just a phone anymore. It felt like I was inside the space now. Breathing. Very close. Right next to the microphone. Slow. Controlled. Not human anymore. The child whispered one last time. It's at the door. A pause. Then a door creak. Slow. Deep. With shifting underweight. I froze completely. Because that sound didn't come from the headset anymore. It came from behind me. In the dispatch room. My body didn't move for a full second. Everything in me refused to accept it. But the sound happened again. Closer. Right behind my station. I didn't turn. Not immediately. My breathing slowed without permission. The headset was still alive. Still open. Still screaming softly in fragments. But now it felt distant. Because something in the room had taken priority. Another creak. This time right beside me. My fingers slowly lifted from the desk. My voice came out low. Careful. Hello? No response. Only the sound of something shifting weight. Behind my chair. Very close now. I swallowed hard. My training screamed at me to turn, but my body refused. Because I knew, if I turned, it would become real in a way I couldn't undo. The headset suddenly erupted again. The child screaming, but now distorted. Overlapping with something else. A second voice inside the same line. Not the child. Not dispatch. Something calm. Too calm. We're already inside. My blood went cold. The lights in the dispatch room flickered once. Just once. But in that single moment of darkness, I heard it clearly. Breathing. Right behind me. Not through the headset. Not through the system. In the room, I finally turned. Slow. Against every instinct I had, my chair creaked as it rotated, and for half a second, there was nothing, just empty space behind my station. No one there, no shadow, no movement. I exhaled slightly, a mistake, because the headset immediately went silent. The child stopped screaming. The line stopped everything, like it had been waiting for me to look away. Then, the screen updated. Instantly. No transition, just new text. Call transfer complete. My eyes narrowed. No, I whispered. I reached for the keyboard again. But before I could touch it, the dispatch system locked. Every screen in the room froze. Not crashed. Locked. And a new window opened across all monitors. A live camera feed. Not from the system. Not from any building camera. From my station. From where I was sitting. I saw myself. But not as I was now, sitting still, headset on, hands frozen, not moving, not blinking, just listening. My breath stopped completely, because I wasn't doing that. I was standing, but the feed showed me sitting. The headset crackled one last time, and the child's voice returned. Very soft, very close. You didn't close it. My throat tightened. I whispered. I ended the call. The voice replied instantly. Not crying now. Not scared. Just final. You answered it. A sound came from behind me again. But I didn't turn this time. Because I understood something too late. It wasn't behind me. It was already on me. The headset tightened slightly against my ear. Not physically. But like it had become heavier. Like it was no longer sitting on my head. But holding it there. The voice came through one last time. Not child, not system, not human, just presence. Last dispatcher. My fingers twitched slightly. I tried to speak, but my mouth didn't follow. The room lights flickered again, and in that final flicker, the monitors changed. Every screen now showed the same thing. 2:17 a.m. Call active. Operator unknown. And beneath it, a second line appeared slowly typing itself in. Replacement complete. My breath stopped. The headset voice softened. Almost gentle. Now you stay. And then, silence. Not sudden. Not empty. Final. The kind of silence that feels like it was always there, just waiting for me to arrive inside it. And somewhere deep in the system, the call kept running. It wasn't on any channel it should have been on. That was the first thing I noticed. Static cracked through my radio, sharp and wrong, like someone scratching inside the speaker. Then a voice slipped in. Not clear, not clean, like it was bleeding through layers of other frequencies. Unit 7, do you copy? My hand tightened around the radio. I wasn't even supposed to be this close to the patrol feed right now. It was a quiet shift. Too quiet. The kind that makes you stop trusting silence. Dispatch! We got interference on Channel 3. I said, no response. Just that same broken voice again. Closer this time. You're already moving toward it. My foot came off the gas slightly. I looked at my partner in the passenger seat. He didn't react. Didn't even blink. Did you hear that? I asked. He finally turned his head slowly. Hear what? The radio hissed again. Louder now, like it was inside the car. Don't stop the vehicle? My stomach tightened. I reached for the radio dial. Switch channels. Once, twice, 3 times. Every channel was the same. That voice. Always a little closer. Always a little clearer. You passed the intersection already? My eyes snapped at the road. We hadn't passed anything unusual. Just the same long stretch of highway. Empty. Too empty. I checked the GPS screen. It flickered. Once. Then updated. My route had changed. Without me touching it. A new road appeared ahead. One I didn't recognize. My partner leaned forward slightly. Since when was there a turnoff here? He muttered. That made my chest go cold. Because I was about to ask him the same thing. The radio crackled again. Don't trust the map. My grip tightened. Dispatch! Confirm route status. I said quickly. Silence. No response. That was the first real mistake. Dispatch never stays silent. Not even for a second. My partner leaned closer to the windshield now. Squinting. Hey, that road wasn't there a second ago. I didn't answer. Because I was seeing it too clearly now. The highway ahead wasn't normal. The edges looked wrong, like the road was being stretched into place, as if something was drawing it forward while we drove into it. The radio whispered again, but now it wasn't broken. It was steady. Calm. Too calm. You're almost at the point. My throat tightened. Point of what? I whispered back before I could stop myself. A pause. Then, where the last unit stopped. My partner frowned. Last unit? He asked. What is that supposed to mean? I didn't answer him, because my radio just displayed something new. A file alert. Unauthorized. No sender. Just a timestamp. 2:17 a.m. My pulse jumped slightly. That time again. Always that time. I clicked it without thinking. A short transmission loaded. Audio, but not clean audio. Fragments. Breathing. Metal scraping. Then a voice. Not mine. Not my partner's. A different officer. Panicked. We see it. God. It's standing in the road. The audio cut violently. My partner looked at me. What is that? He asked. I didn't respond, because the road ahead had changed again. The horizon looked closer now, like distance itself had collapsed. The radio whispered softly, Don't look too long. My eyes flicked to the mirror, and I saw it, just for a second, a shape behind us. Not in the road, not outside, but reflected, standing in the back seat. I turned instantly. Empty. No one. Nothing. But the mirror still showed it. My breathing went shallow. Tell me you saw that, I said. My partner looked annoyed now. Saw what? The radio crackled violently. Don't let it sit behind you. My hand shook slightly. I switched the radio off. Complete silence hit the car instantly. Too heavy, too fast. My ears rang from the sudden absence. My partner exhaled. Finally, he muttered, that thing was giving me a headache. I looked at him. What do you mean you heard it? He shrugged. Same voice. Kept talking like it knew where we were going. My stomach sank deeper, because that wasn't supposed to happen. The radio was only on my channel, only my headset, not his. The road ahead suddenly dipped slightly, like it was lowering. My headlights followed it down, and that's when I saw the first sign. A patrol car, parked on the shoulder, lights off, doors open. My partner straightened. Is that ours? He asked slowly. I didn't answer, because I already knew. It was, but not from tonight. It looked older, dusty, like it had been sitting there for years. My radio flickered back on by itself, even though I turned it off, and the voice returned. But now it sounded closer than before, right next to my ear. You found it? My hand instinctively went to the door handle. No, I whispered. My partner frowned. What? I pointed at the car ahead. That unit. I said slowly, that's not possible. We pulled closer. Slow. Unwanted. The patrol car looked identical to ours. Same model. Same markings. But something was wrong with the paint, like it had been washed too many times by something heavier than water. My partner opened his door slightly. Maybe it's abandoned, he said, but I already knew what was wrong. The doors were open, like someone had stepped out recently, or never came back in. The radio voice returned again, soft, almost relieved. You're here early this time. My breath caught. Early, I whispered. My partner stepped out of the car. Stay here, he said casually. But I couldn't. Something pulled me out too. Not physically, just forward, like the air itself had shifted direction. We walked toward the abandoned unit. Each step felt heavier, like the ground remembered footsteps it didn't want repeated. My partner leaned toward the driver's seat of the abandoned car, then stopped. What the hell? I came closer and saw it inside the driver's seat. A radio still on, static pulsing softly, and on the dashboard, a name tag, mine, same badge number, same department, just slightly older. My throat tightened. The radio inside that abandoned unit crackled once, and the voice spoke again. But now it wasn't coming from my car. It was coming from both. Synchronized. You didn't stop last time either. My partner stepped back. Okay, this is not funny anymore, he said. But I wasn't listening, because inside the abandoned unit's mirror, I saw myself sitting there, staring back, alive, waiting. And then the radio in my hand turned itself back on, one final time. And the voice said something I was never supposed to hear. Welcome back to the loop. The radio didn't stop after that. It should have, but it didn't. Instead, it started speaking like it was remembering things that hadn't happened yet. I stood next to the abandoned patrol car, still staring at the name tag on the dashboard. My name, my number, but older, worn down like it had survived something I hadn't yet lived through. My partner was behind me, still uneasy. Okay, he said slowly. We leave. Right now. I wanted to agree. I really did. But then the radio in my hand crackled again. Not static. Not noise. A voice. Calm. Too calm. Unit 7, report status of call 421. My fingers tightened. That wasn't tonight's call. We only had one active channel. One incident. But the system was speaking like there were more. My partner stepped closer. What did it say? He asked. I didn't answer, because the radio spoke again. Child remains unlocated, basement access confirmed. Officer injury expected at 219. My blood went cold. I looked at my partner instantly. Did you hear that? I asked. He frowned. Hear what? The radio continued like I didn't speak. Subject will not respond verbally after entry. My breathing slowed. This is predicting something. I whispered. My partner shook his head. That's impossible. But then, the radio changed tone. Not predictive anymore. Descriptive, like it was watching something unfold. Officer is approaching structure now. I looked around instinctively. The highway around us felt wrong again. The air heavier. The darkness thicker near the edges. My partner looked uneasy now. Okay, no, he said. We are done with this place. He turned toward the car. But I didn't move, because the radio wasn't done. Officer pauses at threshold. My breath caught, because I wasn't in a building. But my body reacted like something inside me recognized that word. Threshold, my partner grabbed my arm. Hey, we're leaving. But I pulled slightly away, because the voice had changed again. Now softer, closer. You always hesitate here. My stomach twisted. What are you talking about? I whispered into the radio. Silence. Then, a new transmission loaded automatically. A second file, time-stamped. Future time, 3:06 a.m. That was almost an hour from now. I didn't open it. It opened itself. And I saw audio waves immediately spike. Then a voice, mine, but broken, breathing hard, panicked. I can't see anything. Dispatch, I'm inside the house. My knees went weak slightly. My partner noticed immediately. What is it? He asked again, louder now. But I couldn't answer, because the recording continued. Metal creaking, slow footsteps, a door opening, and then my voice again. There's someone here. A pause, long, heavy. Then a second voice entered the recording. Not mine, not the child. Something deeper, calm, right behind me in the audio. You came back anyway. I dropped the radio slightly. My hand shook. No, I whispered. My partner grabbed the radio from me. Let me see that, he said. He looked at it. Listen. Then his face slowly changed. Confusion first, then something worse. Recognition. Why does it sound like us? He asked quietly. That's when I realized something worse. He could hear it too now. Not just me. The radio crackled again. Another file opened instantly. Different timestamp. 2:41 a.m. Still future. Still not happened. A different voice now. Another officer. Breathing fast. Dispatch. I'm at the highway unit. There's 2 cars here, both empty. My head snapped up. My eyes widened slightly. Because I knew where that was going. The abandoned unit beside us. The recording continued. One of them is still running. I looked at our car instantly. Engine off, but dashboard lights flickering slightly. My partner followed my gaze. What? He whispered. The radio didn't wait. It pushed forward again. And I think I'm already inside it. My breath stopped. The recording ended abruptly. Then a new one started immediately. 2:17 a.m. Current time. My chest tightened. This wasn't prediction anymore. This was looping overlap. Different moments bleeding into each other. The voice returned again. Not from the radio now. From the space between transmissions. We don't show you the future, it said softly. My skin went cold. We experience it with you. My partner stepped back slightly. Okay, he said quietly. No more radio. We go now. But the radio wasn't finished. It forced another transmission. This time, no file. Live feed. My voice. But not from this moment. Screaming. Get out, don't stay inside. My heart slammed hard. My partner froze. Because it wasn't just audio now. The car beside us, the abandoned unit. Its radio flickered on by itself. Same signal. Same voice. Same panic. 2 versions of the same moment overlapping. I stepped back slowly. This is not real, I whispered. The radio answered instantly. It is already recorded. My partner looked at me. What do we do? He asked. But I didn't have an answer, because the future version of me was still screaming through the radio. IT knows you're listening. The sound distorted violently. Then stopped. Silence again. But this time it didn't feel empty. It felt full, like something had just arrived. My radio screen changed again. New message. No timestamp. Just a line. Future path confirmed. My breathing slowed. My partner stepped closer to the car. We need to leave this place, he said again. But I didn't move, because I realized something I didn't want to understand. The radio wasn't showing us future events. It was showing us the moments that had already happened to us in other versions, and we were just catching up to them. The radio whispered one last time. Soft, almost gentle. You don't arrive at the future. A pause. You returned to it. And somewhere down the highway, something started moving toward us. But I couldn't tell if it was coming from ahead or from the time we hadn't reached yet. The radio wasn't speaking to me anymore. It was speaking as me. That was the first thing I noticed when the next transmission hit. No static, no distortion, just my voice. Clear, calm, too calm for what it was saying. You're going to turn the engine back on in 30 seconds. My body went cold instantly. I looked at the ignition without meaning to. My partner noticed my face change. "What now?" he asked, but I couldn't answer because the radio continued. My voice continued. "You will tell him it's just interference." My throat tightened. I stepped back slightly from the car. "No!" I whispered. The radio didn't stop. It didn't react to me. It just kept going like I wasn't interrupting my own timeline. "You'll convince yourself it's not real." My partner frowned now. "What is that voice?" he asked slowly. I shook my head. "I don't know," I said. But even as I said it, I felt something inside me resist the words. Because I did know. It was me, but not me right now. The radio crackled once. Then my voice again. "You will check the mirror in 5 seconds." My stomach dropped hard. I didn't want to look, but my eyes moved anyway. The side mirror. Dark. Reflective. Still. For seconds passed. My partner stepped closer. "Hey, what's going on with you?" 3 seconds. My breath slowed. 2 seconds. The radio stayed silent. 1 second. My hand twitched slightly. And then, I looked. Nothing at first. Just us. Highway behind. Empty road. Normal reflection. But then my breath caught. Because I saw it. A delay. My reflection moved half a second slower than I did. Not dramatic. Not obvious. Just wrong enough for my brain to notice it late. My partner didn't see it. But I did. The radio whispered again. "You noticed it too late." My chest tightened. "No," I said under my breath. My partner grabbed my shoulder slightly. "Talk to me," he said firmly. "What is happening?" But my voice on the radio answered for me. "You won't explain it to him." I flinched because my lips had almost moved at the exact same time. The radio continued. "You'll try to turn it off again." My hand instinctively went to the radio dial. Before I even decided to, I froze halfway. My partner stared at me now. "Don't," he said, but I hadn't even told him I was going to. That's when I understood something deeper. It wasn't predicting me. It was driving me. Like the future version of me was pulling strings I hadn't reached yet. The radio spoke again. "You are already reaching for it." My fingers tightened involuntarily. "No," I said sharply. I pulled my hand back. For the first time, the voice paused, like it didn't expect resistance. Then, "You are changing the sequence." My breathing became shallow. "Sequence?" I whispered. My partner stepped back slightly now. "Okay, this is getting weird," he said, but the radio didn't care about him. It continued focusing on me. My voice, my future voice. "If you break the sequence, you will see the wrong outcome." My stomach twisted. I looked at the radio like it was something alive now. "What outcome?" I asked quietly. A pause. Then, "You're deaf." The words didn't come like a threat. They came like a report. Flat. Confirmed. My partner froze. "Did it just say?" "Yes." I cut him off quickly, because I didn't want him saying it again. The radio hissed softly. Then my voice returned. Even closer now. "You will step closer to the highway at 2:23. My eyes widened slightly. I checked my watch instantly. 2:21 a.m. My heart began beating faster. "That's not happening," I said firmly. But even as I said it, my feet shifted slightly. Not willingly. Just a small adjustment. A step forward. My partner noticed. "Hey," he said quickly. "Stop moving like that." I looked down at my feet. I hadn't decided to move. But I had. The radio spoke again. "You are resisting poorly." My chest tightened painfully. "I'm not doing this." I whispered. My voice on the radio replied instantly. "You are doing it exactly as recorded." That sentence made everything colder. Recorded, not predicted. Recorded, like it had already happened somewhere. just not here yet. My partner grabbed my arm. "We are leaving," he said. "Right now." But I couldn't move, because the radio voice continued. "You will hear a second voice at 2:22. My body stiffened. I checked my watch again. 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I looked around the highway. Empty. Still. Too still. My partner pulled slightly. "Come on," he said. But I stayed frozen, waiting, against my will. The radio went silent for the first time. No voice. No static. Just waiting. My breathing slowed. My partner looked confused now. "Why did it stop?" he asked. I didn't answer, because I was listening, not to the radio, to the silence. Something in it felt prepared, like the world was holding its breath with me. My watch ticked. 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 55 seconds. 5 seconds. My body tensed involuntarily. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2:22 a.m. Nothing happened. My partner exhaled slightly. "See? Nothing." A second voice entered the radio, but it wasn't my voice. It was his, screaming, "Move! Don't stand there." My blood ran cold instantly. I turned to him. "What did you just say?" I asked. He stepped back slightly. "I didn't say anything," he said quickly, but the radio was still screaming his voice, over and over. Warning, urgent, like he was watching something I couldn't see. "It's behind you." My body turned slightly before I even thought about it. My partner grabbed my shoulder. "Stop listening to it," he shouted. But I wasn't listening to the radio anymore, because behind him, the reflection in the patrol car window shifted. Something stood there, not fully visible, not fully formed, but present. And it wasn't in the radio anymore. It was in the real world now. My watch ticked again. 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 45 seconds. The voice stopped screaming. Dead silence returned. Then my voice came back one last time. Soft. Final. "You saw it early." My breath stopped. "What happens now?" I whispered. The radio answered immediately. Not calmly, not predictably, but like it was disappointed. "Now it adjusts." The call wasn't supposed to still be there. That was the first thing that felt wrong. 6 hours. Still active. Still open. Still breathing inside the system like it never learned how to end. I stared at the screen, waiting for it to refresh and fix itself. It didn't. The timer kept running. 2:17 a.m., still sitting inside the log like a frozen moment. But everything else had moved on. My shift was halfway through. Other calls had come and gone. But that one line refused to disappear. "Control," I said into my headset, keeping my voice steady. "Can you confirm an active call stuck in line 3? Static answered me first. Then silence. That silence wasn't normal. Dispatch silence always is texture. Faint typing. Breath. Movement. This was empty. Like the room on the other side of the system stopped existing for a second. Then the reply came. "There is no active call on line 3. I frowned. I looked again. It was still there. Bright. Unblinking. Active. "How is it not showing on your end?" I asked. No answer. Just a soft click. Then the line reconnected by itself. Not me. Not control. The system itself. And the call opened. Audio came through immediately. But it wasn't what I expected. No voice. No panic. Just breathing. Slow. Controlled. Too close to the mic. I leaned forward slightly, without meaning to. "Hello," I said carefully. 911, what's your emergency?" Nothing changed. The breathing continued. But now it was synchronized with mine. That made my chest tighten. I sat back slightly. "Sir, if you can hear me, please respond." Still nothing. Just that same breathing. Patient. Waiting. Like it already knew I wasn't going to hang up. I checked the system again. Call duration. 6 hours, 3 minutes, and 12 seconds. My stomach dropped slightly. Control. This line is still open, but I'm not getting a response. This time, Control answered too fast. Almost like they were already waiting. Terminate the call. I frowned. That's it? No tracing. A pause. long enough to feel intentional. Then, terminate the call. Same words. No explanation. My fingers hovered over the disconnect button. But something stopped me. Not fear. Curiosity. Because the breathing on the line changed. It wasn't random anymore. It slowed when I hesitated. Like it was reacting to me. I pulled my hand back slightly. "You're still there," I said quietly. A pause. Then a whisper. Not from control. From the line itself. "You're late." My spine went cold. I looked around the room instinctively. No one reacted. Other dispatchers kept working like normal. Phones ringing. Keyboards clicking. But my headset felt heavier now. Like it had shifted slightly against my ear. "Who is this?" I asked. The breathing stopped. For the first time. Complete silence. Then a sound like paper being turned. Close. Inside the line. Then a voice. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just familiar. "You always answer late." My throat tightened instantly because I recognized it. Not the voice itself, but the way it spoke. Like it knew my schedule better than I did. "Identify yourself," I said quickly. No response. Instead, the call log flickered. Just once. Then updated. Call location, unknown. Call origin, unknown. Call type, active observation. My fingers went cold. "That's not a classification," I muttered. The voice returned. Closer now. "It is now." My screen flickered again, and for half a second, I saw something else behind the system UI. Not data, not code. A room, dim, empty, and a desk with a headset sitting on it. Still open, still connected. My breath stopped. I leaned closer to the screen. The image disappeared instantly, replaced by normal interface. But my pulse had already changed. Something was bleeding through. "Control," I said again, slower this time. "I think there's an echo issue on this line." Silence again. Longer this time. Then, "There is no echo." My jaw tightened. I looked at the call timer again. 6 hours, 12 minutes, and 44 seconds. Still running. Still alive. "I'm terminating the call," I said firmly. My hand moved toward the button. And stopped, because the voice spoke again. And this time, it sounded like it was sitting right behind my words. "You already did." My hand froze. "What?" The system flickered, and suddenly the call log changed. Not ending, rewinding. The timer shifted backwards. 6 hours, 12 minutes, and 40 seconds. 6 hours, 12 minutes, and 30 seconds. 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 55 seconds. Going backwards. I stood up slightly. "What is happening?" I whispered. The voice answered immediately. "Calm, patient. You've been here before." I stepped back from my station. "No," I said quickly. "That's not possible." The call breathing returned. But now it wasn't coming from the headset. It was coming from the room. Very faint. Right behind me. I didn't turn immediately, because I knew what that meant. When sound stops belonging to the device, it starts belonging to the space. "Control," I said louder now. "I need assistance at Station 7. No response. Not even static. Just dead silence on the entire network. I turned slightly. Slow. Careful. The room behind me looked normal. Too normal. But my headset tightened slightly, like it adjusted itself on my head. And the voice spoke again. Soft. Almost gentle. "You checked behind you too early." My breath stopped. I didn't move. Not fully. Just enough to understand. Something was learning my reactions. My timing. My hesitation. I slowly turned back to the screen. Call still active. 6 hours, 10 minutes, and 12 seconds. Still counting down backward. And then, a second audio stream opened inside the same call. Another voice. Mine. But not speaking to dispatch. Speaking inside something else. I can't see the exit anymore. My stomach dropped, because I had never said those words. But my voice was saying them. From somewhere inside that call, the breathing returned again. Now closer. Now layered. 2 breaths. Mine. And something else. Matching mine perfectly. The voice on the line. whispered one last time. This is the part where you stop trying to close it. My hand slowly moved away from the disconnect button, without me telling it to. And in that moment, I understood the worst part. The call wasn't still open for 6 hours. It had been open long enough for me to start becoming part of it. It started with a sound that didn't belong in a phone line. Not static, not interference. A step, slow, heavy, like someone dragging their heel across a wooden floor right next to my ear. I remember freezing with my hand, still hovering over the console. My headset pressed tight, like it suddenly weighed too much. The line had been open for hours. No voice, no location, no ID, just that same silent connection sitting on channel 4, like a dead weight nobody could remove. We had already tried everything. Reset the routing, reboot the system, even forced a manual disconnect. Nothing worked. The line just came back, active again, like it refused to die. I leaned closer now, eyes narrowing at the screen. Call duration, 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 43 seconds. That number didn't make sense. No call survives that long. Not in our system. Not without logs breaking, servers flagging, something collapsing. But there it was, still running, still alive. And then the breathing started. Not the faint kind from before. This time it was closer, wet, controlled, like someone standing too close to the microphone, trying not to be heard, but failing. I whispered into the headset, without thinking. Hello? Emergency dispatch. Can you hear me? A pause, long enough to make my stomach tighten. Then, a drag again. Something scraping across the floor. Slow, intentional, like it knew I was listening. My fingers moved to mute the channel. But before I could press anything, the sound changed. Breathing stopped, and footsteps started instead. Walking, inside the line. Not outside, not in the background. Inside. I pulled the headset back slightly, my eyes flicking around the room like someone could explain what I was hearing. The dispatch center was normal. Too normal. Fluorescent lights buzzing. Radios humming. Officers talking in the background. Coffee cooling on the desk next to mine. But inside my headset, something was moving. Step, step, stop, right near the microphone. And then a whisper. Not loud, not clear, but enough to make my skin tighten. Still listening, I swallowed hard. Identify yourself, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. This is emergency dispatch. State your location. A pause, long enough to feel intentional. Then, terminate the call. Same words, no explanation. My fingers hovered over the disconnect button. But something stopped me. Not fear, curiosity, because the breathing on the line changed. It wasn't random anymore. It slowed when I hesitated, like it was reacting to me. I pulled my hand back slightly. You're still there, I said quietly. A pause. Then a whisper, not from control, from the line itself. You're late. My spine went cold. I looked around the room instinctively. No one reacted. Other dispatchers kept working like normal. Phones ringing, keyboards clicking. But my headset felt heavier now, like it had shifted slightly against my ear. Who is this? I asked. The breathing stopped. For the first time. Complete silence. Then a sound like paper being turned. Close. Inside the line. Then a voice. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just familiar. You always answer late. My throat tightened instantly because I recognized it. Not the voice itself, but the way it spoke. Like it knew my schedule better than I did. Identify yourself, I said quickly. No response. Instead, the call log flickered. Just once. Then updated. Call location, unknown. Call origin, unknown. Call type, active observation. My fingers went cold. That's not a classification. I muttered. The voice returned. Closer now. It is now. My screen flickered again, and for half a second, I saw something else behind the system UI. Not data, not code. A room, dim, empty, and a desk with a headset sitting on it. Still open, still connected. My breath stopped. I leaned closer to the screen. The image disappeared instantly, replaced by normal interface. But my pulse had already changed. Something was bleeding through. Control. I said again, slower this time. I think there's an echo issue on this line. Silence again. Longer this time. Then, there is no echo. My jaw tightened. I looked at the call timer again. 6 hours, 12 minutes, and 44 seconds. Still running. Still alive. I'm terminating the call. I said firmly. My hand moved toward the button. And stopped, because the voice spoke again. And this time, it sounded like it was sitting right behind my words. You already did. My hand froze. What? The system flickered, and suddenly the call log changed. Not ending. Rewinding. The timer shifted backwards. 6 hours, 12 minutes, and 40 seconds. 6 hours, 12 minutes, and 30 seconds. 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 55 seconds. Going backwards. I stood up slightly. What is happening? I whispered. The voice answered immediately. Calm. Patient. You've been here before? I stepped back from my station. No, I said quickly. That's not possible. The call breathing returned. But now it wasn't coming from the headset. It was coming from the room. Very faint. Right behind me. I didn't turn immediately, because I knew what that meant. When sound stops belonging to the device, it starts belonging to the space. Control. I said louder now. I need assistance at Station 7. No response. Not even static. Just dead silence on the entire network. I turned slightly. Slow. Careful. The room behind me looked normal. Too normal. But my headset tightened slightly, like it adjusted itself on my head. And the voice spoke again. Soft. Almost gentle. You checked behind you too early. My breath stopped. I didn't move. Not fully. Just enough to understand. Something was learning my reactions. My timing. My hesitation. I slowly turned back to the screen. Call still active. 6 hours, 10 minutes, and 12 seconds. Still counting down backward. And then, a second audio stream opened inside the same call. Another voice. Mine. But not speaking to dispatch. Speaking inside something else. I can't see the exit anymore. My stomach dropped, because I had never said those words. But my voice was saying them. From somewhere inside that call. The breathing returned again, now closer, now layered. 2 breaths, mine, and something else, matching mine perfectly. The voice on the line whispered one last time. This is the part where you stop trying to close it. My hand slowly moved away from the disconnect button, without me telling it to, and in that moment, I understood the worst part. The call wasn't still open for 6 hours. It had been open long enough for me to start becoming part of it. It started with a sound that didn't belong in a phone line. Not static, not interference. A step, slow, heavy, like someone dragging their heel across a wooden floor right next to my ear. I remember freezing with my hand, still hovering over the console. My headset pressed tight, like it suddenly weighed too much. The line had been open for hours. No voice, no location, no ID. Just that same silent connection sitting on Channel 4, like a dead weight nobody could remove. We had already tried everything. Reset the routing, reboot the system, even forced a manual disconnect. Nothing worked. The line just came back, active again, like it refused to die. I leaned closer now, eyes narrowing at the screen. Call duration, 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 43 seconds. That number didn't make sense. No call survives that long. Not in our system. Not without logs breaking. Servers flagging. Something collapsing. But there it was. Still running. Still alive. And then the breathing started. Not the faint kind from before. This time it was closer. Wet. Controlled. Like someone standing too close to a microphone. Trying not to be heard, but failing. I whispered into the headset, without thinking. Hello? Emergency dispatch. Can you hear me? A pause. Long enough to make my stomach tighten. Then, a drag again. Something scraping across the floor. Slow. Intentional. Like it knew I was listening. My fingers moved to mute the channel. But before I could press anything, the sound changed. Breathing stopped, and footsteps started instead. Walking. Inside the line. Not outside. Not in the background. Inside. I pulled the headset back slightly, my eyes flicking around the room like someone could explain what I was hearing. The dispatch center was normal. Too normal. Fluorescent lights buzzing. Radios humming. Officers talking in the background. Coffee cooling on the desk next to mine. But inside my headset, something was moving. Step, step, stop, right near the microphone. And then a whisper. Not loud, not clear, but enough to make my skin tighten. Still listening, I swallowed hard. Identify yourself, I said. Try and keep my voice steady. This is emergency dispatch. State your location. Silence again, then something worse. A soft laugh. Not human, not animal, just wrong. Like it was copied from a recording that didn't understand humor. The console blinked. Line still active, still connected, still refusing to end. My partner across the room, Jenna, looked up at me. You still got that ghost call? She asked casually, sipping her coffee. I didn't answer right away, because I realized something that made my chest tighten. The footsteps had stopped, but the breathing was back, right behind my ear, slow, patient, like it was waiting for me to realize it was closer than it should be. I leaned away from the mic instinctively. Nothing was there. Of course nothing was there. But my headset crackled again, and this time a voice came through. Not the child from earlier, not the whispering static thing. This voice was different. Calm, male, too calm. You hear it now, it said. I stiffened. My hand froze on the desk. Who is this? I asked, forcing authority into my voice. A pause. Then the voice answered like it already knew me. You don't need to know my name. You just need to listen. Jenna frowned from across the room. Everything okay over there? I raised a finger at her, telling her to wait, because now I could hear something else under the man's voice. Footsteps again, but not random. They were pacing, circling, like someone walking around the outside of my chair. Slowly, deliberately. You shouldn't still be on this line, I said. The man on the headset gave a small exhale, almost amused. You say that every time. My throat went dry. That wasn't possible. I had never spoken to this voice before. I would remember it. You don't forget something like this. The footsteps got louder, closer, then stopped directly behind me. I didn't turn. I couldn't, because something about the silence told me I already knew what I'd see. The voice in my headset continued. It doesn't matter how many times you disconnect. It always comes back to you. My fingers hovered over the emergency kill switch. One press. That was all it would take. But the screen flickered for half a second, and I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. Call log expanded. Not just the active call. There were entries beneath it. Hundreds. All labeled the same. Unknown call, active. Unknown call, active. Unknown call, active. Different timestamps, different days, some even years apart. My breathing got shallow. I had never noticed them before, or maybe I had, and just forgot. The voice spoke again, softer this time. You're not the first dispatcher I've spoken to. My hand trembled. That's not possible. A pause, then a sound I will never forget. My own voice, coming through the headset, but not me speaking, me answering. Slow, calm, too calm. I told you not to pick up this line. My entire body went cold. I pulled the headset off instantly, like it had burned me, but the voice didn't stop. It continued without the device. Still in the room, still everywhere. Jenna stood up now, noticing my reaction. Hey, what's wrong with you? I tried to answer her, but I couldn't tell her what I was hearing, because now it wasn't just a headset. It was the speakers. The entire dispatch system, even the radio units on the far desk, began to hiss softly, and underneath it all, my voice again, repeating, predicting, don't open the door. My blood turned to ice. What door? I whispered without thinking. The room seemed to shift, just slightly, like reality itself had tilted. The man's voice returned, closer than before. You already know. My screen flickered again, and for a split second, I saw something outside the dispatch center glass wall. A reflection. Not mine, not Jenna's. Something standing behind us. Too tall, too still, just watching. Then gone. I turned instantly. Nothing there. Of course nothing there. But Jenna had stepped back now. Confused. Uneasy. Okay, I don't know what's going on with you, but you're starting to freak me out. I didn't answer, because the footsteps were back again. Inside the headset. Inside the room. Inside everything. Circling closer. And now the whisper wasn't just one voice anymore. It was layered. Multiple tones overlapping. Like several versions of the same person speaking at different times. Different moments. Different outcomes. You're going to check the line again. You're going to stay too long. You're going to open it. I shook my head quickly. No, I'm disconnecting this. My finger moved toward the system override, but the screen froze. Completely, then typed itself. Slowly. Don't. I stepped back. My chair hit the wall. Jenna came closer now, worried. You need to go home. Seriously. But I couldn't move, because the voice in my headset changed one last time. It sounded tired, almost disappointed. You already heard me. A pause. Then the final thing it said made my stomach drop completely. So, you know what happens when a call ends. The line went dead. Silence hit the room, like a physical force. The speakers stopped. The radio stopped. Even the humming fluorescent lights felt louder in the absence. My screen blinked. Call duration, midnight. Disconnected. Jenna exhaled like she could finally breathe again. Okay, whatever that was, it's over. But I didn't feel relief, because I knew something was wrong. Something was missing. The footsteps were gone. The voice was gone. The system was quiet. Too quiet. And then my own headset, still hanging around my neck, not even powered, whispered one last time, right against my skin. Not yet. And I realized the worst part wasn't that the call ended. It was that something on the other side finally knew exactly where I was. It stopped. Everything. The radios went silent first. Then the monitors. Then even the faint electrical hum of the building faded, like someone slowly turned the world's volume down. For a moment, I thought maybe it was over. Maybe the system finally crashed. Maybe I finally got my answer. Then I heard my own breathing. But it wasn't coming from me. It was coming from the headset around my neck. Soft, close, warm, like someone was breathing inside it, right against my skin. I didn't move. I couldn't. My hands were still frozen near the console, fingers hovering over the disconnect switch that no longer responded. The screen was black now. Not off, not broken, just waiting, like it was watching me back. Jenna was still behind me. I could feel her presence shifting. Hey, she said slowly, did your system just die? I wanted to answer her, but the breathing in my headset got louder, closer, and then it stopped completely. That silence lasted only a second, because after that, it spoke, not through the speakers, not through the radio, not even through the headset speaker. It spoke directly into my ear, like it was standing right behind me. It's quieter now, the voice whispered. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I might fall. I turned my head slightly, slowly, like movement itself had become dangerous. Nothing was there. Of course nothing was there. But the voice stayed, right beside me. You always look for me in the wrong places, it said. My throat went dry. Who are you? A soft breath of laughter. Not mocking. Not loud. Just certain. You still ask that question. Jenna stepped closer now, confused. Are you talking to someone on comms? Because I don't hear anything. I didn't answer her, because I realized something that made my chest tighten painfully. She couldn't hear it. Only I could. The voice continued, slow and patient, like it had all the time in the world. I've been inside your system for a long time. My fingers twitched toward the console again, even though I knew it was useless. The calls, I whispered. The child. The voice. The future reports. A pause. Then, yes. That single word made my vision blur slightly. My mind tried to reject it, tried to find logic, procedures, systems failure, anything normal. But nothing about this felt normal anymore. Jenna frowned. You're starting to freak me out. Seriously, what's going on? I swallowed hard. Get away from me. That made her stop. Not because I was loud. Because I wasn't. I barely spoke. But something in my voice must have changed. The voice in my ear reacted instantly. Oh! It whispered softly. She can't hear me yet. My blood went cold. Yet, I said under my breath. The voice didn't answer right away. Instead, I felt something shift in the air. Not physically, not visually, but like the space behind my thoughts changed. Like something had stepped closer inside my mind. You're learning now, it said. That's good. I shook my head slightly, trying to stay grounded. This is impossible. You're just a signal, a loop, a glitch. A pause. Then the voice said something that made my hands go numb. I am not in the system. My breathing hitched. I am the system noticing you. The words didn't make sense, but they still felt like truth. Jenna was watching me carefully now, her hand hovering near the radio, like she was ready to call for backup on me instead of through me. I think you need to step outside, she said slowly, but I couldn't move, because something else was happening now. The headset around my neck tightened slightly, not physically, but like pressure, like attention focusing on me. The voice came again, closer than before. You tried to disconnect me earlier. My jaw clenched. Yes. A pause. Then, that was rude. And somehow, that made the fear worse. Not anger, not threat, just disappointment. Like I had interrupted something that considered itself patient. I felt a sudden urge to remove the headset completely. I reached for it. My fingers touched the plastic. Cold. Then, a whisper slid directly into my ear again, softer now. You can take it off if you want. My hand froze, but I'll still be here. I stopped breathing for a second. Jenna stepped forward again, more urgent now. Hey, talk to me. You're scaring me. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, I noticed something strange. She wasn't reacting to the voice at all, not even slightly, but she was reacting to me, reacting to it. Like I was listening to something she couldn't perceive. Like I was the only broken thing in the room. The voice noticed my silence. And then it did something worse. It started describing my thoughts before I had them. You're thinking she can't hear me, it said calmly. My stomach twisted. You're wondering if you're alone in this. My pulse spiked. You're trying to decide if you're still sane. I backed away slightly from the console. Jenna reached for my arm. You're shaking. Sit down. But the moment she touched me, the voice spoke again, sharply this time. Don't let her anchor you. I pulled my arm back instantly. Jenna blinked. What? I stared at her, then at the empty space around us. Did you say something just now? She asked. My mouth opened, but I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure which of us she was talking to. The voice softened again, almost gentle. She doesn't know yet, it whispered. Know what? I asked silently. A pause. Then, that she will forget you. My chest tightened. What does that mean? I said out loud. Jenna frowned harder. You're not making sense. But the voice didn't stop. It kept going slow and steady. She will walk out of this room. She will file a report. She will remember a normal shift. My breathing got shallow, and you will not be in it. My mind snapped. No, I said firmly. No, that's not how this works. The voice responded immediately. But that is how it always works. And suddenly, I heard it. Footsteps again. But not in the headset this time. In the room, behind me. I turned slowly. Jenna had moved, just slightly. Not toward me, away from me. Like something about me had become unfamiliar. Hey, she said carefully. Why are you looking at me like that? The voice whispered directly into my ear one last time. You're already being erased. My hand dropped from the headset. My legs felt unsteady. Jenna took another step back. And in that moment, I understood something I didn't want to understand. She wasn't reacting to a monster. She was reacting to someone she could no longer fully recognize. like I was already becoming background noise in her memory. The voice spoke softly, almost satisfied. "It's not inside the building," it said. "It's inside the connection between people who report it." My breath shook. Jenna looked at me like she was deciding something now, like she was choosing whether to stay or leave. And the voice gave its final warning, right against my ear, so when she walked away, "You will not follow her." A long silence. Then I heard footsteps behind me again, but this time they were mine. The first thing I noticed wasn't the voice. It was a location. No signal area. Outbound call received. That shouldn't have been possible. I stared at the screen longer than I should have, waiting for it to correct itself. It didn't. The line was real, active, breathing, and coming from a zone marked in red on our map. Deep forest territory, 40 miles outside city coverage, where even emergency radios dropped to static. I leaned closer. "Patch it through," I said quietly. My partner glanced over. "That area? That's dead zone. Could be a glitch." "It's not a glitch," I said before I even knew why I was so sure. The call connected, and for a moment there was nothing, just silence. Not normal silence, not empty silence. This was the kind that feels occupied, like the line is full, but refusing to speak. I adjusted my headset. 911, what is your emergency?" A long pause. Then a sound, not a voice, not a word. Footsteps, slow, wet, like shoes sinking slightly into mud. My stomach tightened. "Hello," I repeated. "If you can hear me, state your location." The footsteps stopped. Then breathing started. Close, too close, like someone standing directly in front of a microphone without speaking into it. And then a whisper came through, not answering my question, ignoring it completely. "It worked," the voice said. I frowned. "What worked?" I asked. A pause. Then we found the line again. My fingers stiffened on the console. "That's not how emergency calls work," I said. "You need to identify yourself." Another pause, longer this time. Then the breathing shifted, not away, closer, and the voice returned, softer now. "You don't remember us?" Something about that sentence made my skin tighten. My partner leaned in slightly. "What are they saying?" I shook my head once. I didn't know, because there was something wrong with the way it spoke. Not the words, the familiarity, like it expected me to understand. I checked the map again. No signal area. Still blinking. Still active. Still impossible. "Sir," I said into the mic, "if this is a distress call, I need your exact location." A sound came through. Not words. A faint laugh. Broken. Dry. Like someone laughing after forgetting how. Then, still asking for location, the voice said, my throat went dry, my hand tightened on the desk. "You're not supposed to be able to call from there," I said. A pause. Then the voice responded, almost gently, "We always call from there." That made no sense, but the way it said it made my chest feel tight, like I was missing something obvious. My partner frowned. "Should I trace it?" "Yes," I said quickly. She started typing. The system lagged, then froze, then flickered, then showed something that made both of us stop. No location found. Not unknown. Not masked. Just empty. Like the signal existed without belonging to space. The voice came back again. This time lower. More deliberate. "You're newer than the others." My breath caught slightly. "The others?" I repeated. A soft sound came through. Not a laugh this time. More like movement. Like something turning its head very slowly. "Operators," the voice said. "They usually last longer before they notice." My chair creaked as I leaned back slightly. "Notice what?" I asked. A long pause. Then, that the forest is not empty. My screen flickered once. Just once. And for a split second, I saw something on the call metadata. Not numbers. Not logs. Just a word. "Listening." Then it vanished. My partner glanced at me. "Okay, this is getting weird. I'm escalating it." "Wait," I said quickly, but I didn't know why I said it. The voice changed tone slightly. Not louder, not sharper, just closer to understanding me. You're trying to protect the signal, it said. I didn't respond, because I didn't understand that sentence. But something in me didn't like it. My partner reached for the escalation line, and the moment her finger touched the button, the voice spoke again, faster this time. Don't send anyone here. She paused. I looked at her. She looked at me. We both froze, because it wasn't a request. It sounded like warning, or memory. My voice came out quieter than I intended. Why? The line went silent. No breathing. No footsteps. Nothing. For a second, I thought it dropped. Then, the voice returned. But it wasn't just one voice anymore. It was layered, multiple, different tones overlapping like echoes from different distances. Because they came already. My heart sank slightly. What do you mean? I asked. A pause. Then the answer came slowly, like it was remembering something painful. We heard them too. My partner leaned closer to me now. I'm calling field units. No, I said quickly, but she already pressed it. The radio crackled instantly. A response came back almost immediately. Too fast. Too clean. Unit 12 responding. Approaching forest boundary. My stomach tightened. That was impossible. No dispatch had been sent. No confirmation had been logged. But the response was already there. Moving. Active. Approaching. The voice on my headset spoke again. Quieter now. Almost tired. You sent them anyway. My mouth went dry. I didn't, I said. A pause. Then, you always do. And then I heard something new. Not in the headset. Not in the radio. In the room, a distant crackle. Like leaves breaking under heavy steps. My partner looked up sharply. Do you hear that? I didn't answer, because I already knew what it was. The footsteps weren't in the forest anymore. They were in the system. The voice returned one last time before everything shifted again. This is the part where you stop listening. And then the call changed. The background wasn't empty anymore. Something was there, breathing, standing, waiting, right on the other side of the line. And for the first time since I took the call, I realized the forest wasn't calling us. It was already inside our connection. My radio crackled, but I wasn't the one speaking. For a second, I froze inside the patrol car. The voice was mine. Calm, controlled, too calm. I'm already at the tree line, it said. Don't come closer. My hand tightened on the steering wheel. I looked around the empty road. No other unit. No backup. Just my headlights cutting into a forest that wasn't even supposed to have a marked trail. Dispatch came back fast. Unit 12, confirm your location. I opened my mouth, but the reply came before I could speak. I said, don't come closer. My stomach dropped, because I hadn't keyed the mic yet. That was the first time I felt it. That strange gap, like something had slipped between my thoughts and my voice. I should have turned around right then, but I didn't. The call came 15 minutes earlier. Routine missing person report. Old Forest sector, edge of Highway 37 expansion zone. No houses nearby. No settlements. Just trees and fog. But when I checked the map, there was a marker blinking there already. Unit 11, my partner. Assigned 10 minutes before I even accepted the call. Except I hadn't been told about a partner. I remember asking dispatch. Repeat unit assignment? Static. Then a delay too long to be normal. Unit 12 is paired with Unit 11 on Forest entry sweep. I checked again. No Unit 11 in the system. Not in active roster. Not in archive logs. But the tracker on my screen said otherwise. It showed it already inside the forest, moving slowly, like it was walking. I told myself it was a glitch. Then the radio spoke again. This time, not my voice. Don't follow me. It sounded closer, not through the speaker, but like it was inside the car. I killed the engine. Silence it. So hard, I could hear my own breathing bounce off the windshield. The forest ahead didn't move. No wind. No insects. Just stillness. And something about that stillness felt wrong. Like the world was waiting for me to forget something important. I stepped out. Cold air hit my face instantly. Too cold for this season. My breath showed up like smoke. I looked back at the car. The headlights were still on, but the road behind me was gone. Not dark, not blocked, just missing. Where there should have been asphalt, there was only trees. Thick, too close together, like the forest had grown overnight to erase my exit. My radio hissed again. Why did you stop? I spun around. Nothing. No movement. No footsteps. Just trees. But the voice wasn't in my hand anymore. It was behind me. I turned slowly. Nothing there. Still I felt watched. Not like eyes. Like memory. Like something was replaying me from the wrong angle. I walked forward. One step. Then another. Each step made the forest quieter. Like sound itself was shrinking to avoid me. That's when I saw the first sign. A flashlight. Lying on the ground. Still on. Beaming straight up into the trees like it had fallen from the sky instead of a hand. I picked it up. My name was carved into the side. My unit number 2. But I don't remember losing it. I don't remember ever being here before. I whispered into the radio. Dispatch, confirm Unit 11 last transmission. Static. Then my voice again. You're already here. I dropped the flashlight. It didn't turn off. It just kept shining upward like nothing changed. That's when I noticed the footprints. Mine, leading deeper into the forest. Fresh, too fresh, like I had just walked there seconds ago. But I was still standing still. My chest tightened. I followed them anyway, because something worse than fear started creeping in. Curiosity. Every few steps, the forest changed slightly. Not enough to notice at first, but enough to feel wrong. A tree I passed once, now it scratches on it. My scratches. A broken branch, now tied with police tape. My tape, a small emergency mirror hanging from a branch, reflected me standing farther ahead. But I hadn't reached that spot yet. My stomach turned. I whispered, "This isn't possible," and the radio answered instantly. It already happened. I stopped walking. My breath got heavier. Who is this? I asked. Silence. Then, I'm you. My hands went numb. The voice continued. Slower now. 12 minutes from now, you'll stop walking. 10 minutes after that, you'll call for backup that never existed. 5 minutes after that, you'll forget why you came here. I backed away from the trees. No, I said, I just got here. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure, because something was missing. Time, not just lost. Cut, like whole pieces of it had been removed from my mind. I checked my watch. It showed 2:17 a.m. But I remember leaving the station at 1:40. That gap shouldn't exist, unless a sound cut through the forest. Footsteps. Behind me. Slow. Deliberate. I turned sharply, hand on my weapon. Nothing. But the footprints in the dirt had changed direction, now walking toward me. Not away. My radio crackled again. You're about to see me. I whispered. No. The forest shifted. I swear it did. The trees moved just slightly, like they leaned closer. And then I saw him, standing between two trunks. Same uniform, same face, same posture. Me, but wrong. His eyes didn't blink. Mine did. His expression didn't change when I aimed my flashlight at him. Mine would have. I raised my weapon. Identify yourself. He smiled, but his mouth didn't move right, like the smile was delayed. You already know, he said. My radio screamed static. Then my own voice overlapped everything. Don't shoot. I froze. The other me stepped forward. Slow. Calm. Too calm. You always shoot, he said softly. And that's why you never leave. My grip shook. What are you talking about? He tilted his head slightly, like he was remembering something I hadn't lived yet. The first time you came here, you called for backup. They came, but they weren't responding to you anymore. My throat tightened. What happened to them? He looked past me, into the dark. They started answering someone else. A long silence. Then my radio buzzed again. But this time it wasn't my voice. It was 100 voices layered on top of each other, all saying the same thing. Don't come closer. My vision blurred. The forest felt like it was folding in on itself. I stepped back, but I wasn't where I was a second ago. The ground shifted under my boots. Or maybe I did. The other me was closer now. Too close. He leaned in slightly and whispered something only I could hear. "You're already the Lost Patrol." My mind snapped. I ran. I don't know how long. Seconds. Minutes. Hours. The forest didn't change. It just repeated. Same trees. Same flashlight hanging in the branches. Same footprints leading me forward no matter which direction I turned. My radio kept talking, but I stopped listening because I realized something worse. Every message was already in my head before it came through, like I was receiving transmissions. I was remembering them. I collapsed near a tree, breathing hard, and that's when I saw it. A log entry on my wrist device, automatically updating. Unit 12 status, missing. Timestamp, tomorrow. I stared at it, and my own voice whispered one last thing to the radio. "You're almost caught up now." Silence followed. Not the normal kind. The kind that feels like something just finished watching you. I looked up. The forest was no longer dark. It was waiting, and somewhere inside it, I heard my own footsteps starting again. The first thing I noticed was the radio was still active, even after I stopped responding, even after I stopped breathing properly. It kept talking like nothing had changed. "Unit 12, do you copy?" My voice came through clear. Calm. Controlled. Too calm for someone standing in the middle of a forest that didn't behave like a forest anymore. I didn't answer, but the radio didn't stop. "Unit 12, respond." I looked down at my device. The screen still showed my call sign. Still active. Still connected. But I wasn't holding the mic. My hand wasn't even near it. I slowly lifted my fingers in front of my face. They were shaking, not from cold, from recognition, because I could hear myself breathing on the line, not as feedback, but as if the radio was inside my lungs. A long inhale, a controlled exhale, then my voice again. "I can see you now." I stepped back instantly. The forest behind me felt closer than before, like it had leaned in while I wasn't looking. "No," I whispered. "No, I'm not transmitting." But the radio answered immediately. "You always are." That's when I realized something that made my stomach turn. The transmission wasn't coming from my radio. It was coming from everywhere I had been. From the trees, from the ground, from the memory of walking here. I turned in a circle. The same trail, the same broken flashlight hanging in the branches, the same footprints leading forward like I never stopped moving. But I wasn't walking anymore. At least I didn't think I was. Then the radio clicked again, and a new sound came through. Not my voice this time. A child's breathing. Fast, shallow, terrified. The same breathing from the first call. The no signal call. But now it was clear. Too close. Like the child was inside my helmet. I whispered, "Where are you?" A pause. Then the child spoke. "Behind you." I spun around fast. Nothing. But my flashlight on the ground flickered, like something had stepped over it. Slowly, carefully, like it knew I was watching. I raised my weapon again. "Identify yourself." I shouted. My voice cracked halfway through, because I heard it echo, not in the forest, in the radio, in the child's breathing, in my own thoughts repeating it back to me. Then the radio changed tone. Static dropped. Silence replaced it. And then my own voice came through again, but wrong. Not calm this time. Not controlled. Panicked. Breaking. "Don't let it finish the loop." I froze. That wasn't me, but it sounded like me after something had already gone wrong, like a version of me that had already failed. I whispered, "What loop?" The radio answered instantly. The call never ended. A long pause. Then footsteps. Behind me, I turned slowly and saw something standing at the edge of the trees. Not fully formed, not fully solid, just shape, my shape, but older, worn down, like time had been pressing on it too long. It raised a hand, and in perfect sync, my radio spoke again. "This is what you become if you keep answering." My breath stopped. The shape stepped forward. And with every step it took, I felt something inside me shift. Like my memory was trying to reorder itself. Like I had already been here longer than I remembered. The shape stopped a few feet away. Close enough now that I could see its face clearly. My face, but tired. Empty in a way I couldn't understand. It whispered without moving its lips. "You're still responding." I shook my head hard. "No." I stopped. The shape tilted slightly. Almost sad. Then it said something that made my knees weaken. "You never stop. You only forget between calls." The radio crackled again, and now I heard something worse. Multiple voices, not overlapping anymore. Structured, like a conversation happening without me. Unit 12 is still active. Confirm last known position. He's already inside the loop. I dropped the radio. It hit the ground with a dull sound, but the voices didn't stop. They just moved into my head. My vision blurred for a second, and when it cleared, I wasn't sure if I was still standing in the forest or inside the transmission itself. The shape stepped closer, and suddenly I wasn't afraid of it. I was afraid of remembering it, because something about it felt familiar, not like a stranger, like a result, a final version of something I had already done too many times. I whispered, "What happened to me?" The shape answered instantly. "You answered the call too many times." A pause. Then, and one of them answered back. My chest tightened. The forest around me flickered, like reality was struggling to stay stable. I looked down at my hands. They were still there, but faint, like I was becoming signal instead of matter. I backed away, but the ground didn't respond properly anymore. Each step felt delayed, like I was moving slightly after I decided to move. The radio on the ground turned itself on again, and this time it wasn't my voice. It was a child, screaming, not for help, but for recognition, like it finally realized something it didn't want to understand. Then silence, dead silence, and into that silence, my voice returned. But it wasn't mine anymore. It was the system's voice now. Calm, official, final, Unit 12 status updated. Location unknown, condition repeating. I shook my head violently. No, I'm still here. But even as I said it, I felt it slipping, like my words were arriving too late to matter. The shape was gone now. Or maybe it never existed outside the moment I noticed it. The forest felt quieter, but not peaceful, more like it had finished something. I picked up the radio again. My hand moved on its own this time, and I heard myself say something I didn't choose. "Dispatch, I need backup." A pause, then dispatch answered, except it wasn't dispatch. It was my own voice again. From the beginning. "You already got it." My breathing stopped, because I understood now. The loop wasn't the call. It was me, and somewhere far away, in a control room I couldn't remember entering. Someone picked up a headset and heard my voice still active on the line. Still calling, still responding, still not realizing the line was never open for anyone else. It started with a voice that didn't belong to the call. Not the caller. Not dispatch. Something behind her. I remember staring at my console, waiting for the usual static to clear. But instead, I heard it clearly. A man's breathing. Slow. Close. Too close. Then the caller spoke again, her voice shaking. "Did you hear that?" I leaned forward. "Hear what?" A pause. Then she whispered, "There's someone behind you." I stopped moving, because I was alone in the dispatch room. At least, I thought I was. The radio light blinked steadily in front of me. Green. Stable. Normal. Everything about that night was normal on paper. But the air wasn't. It felt heavier, like the room had gained weight while I wasn't looking. "Ma'am," I said into the mic, forcing calm into my voice, "confirm your location." Another pause, longer this time. Then she answered, but her voice had changed. Not panic anymore. Something else. Like she was listening to something I couldn't hear. "I'm at 14 Willow Street," she said slowly. I checked the system. Nothing. No Willow Street in that sector. Not even an old record. "Ma'am," I repeated, "that address does not exist." That's when the breathing on the line got louder. Not hers. Not mine. Something else. Right between the words. Right between us. The caller spoke again, but now her voice was faint, like she had moved the phone away from her mouth. I think it knows I'm talking to you. I felt a cold shift in my stomach. Who knows? I asked. No answer. Just movement in the background of her line. Soft, slow, like fabric dragging across wood. Then a new sound. A whisper, not through the radio, but inside the audio itself. Inside the space between static. You shouldn't have answered. I pulled the headset slightly away from my ear. My skin was already cold. Dispatch to unit support, I said quickly, though I knew I was alone on shift. Possible interference on civilian line. No response came, just the caller breathing faster now. Please, she said. I can hear closer to me now. And then, a sound I still can't explain. A second voice came through her line, but it wasn't hers. It was mine. Calm. Too calm. It's okay, my voice said through her phone. I'm already here. I stood up so fast my chair hit the wall behind me. No, I whisper out loud. That's not possible. But the radio didn't agree, because now it answered me, not with static, with my own voice again, repeating what I had just said, like it was listening to me from somewhere I hadn't spoken yet. The caller started crying, but even that felt distant now, like she was fading behind layers of sound. I can't see my room anymore, she said. What do you mean? I asked sharply. I mean it's not mine anymore. My grip tightened on the console. Stay on the line, I told her. Do not hang up. A pause. Then she whispered something that made my hands go numb. It's standing behind you now, too. I turned instantly. The dispatch room was empty. Too empty. Even the hum of the ventilation system felt like it had stopped for a second, but I still heard it. Breathing, right behind my headset. Slow, patient, like it had been waiting for me to notice. I ripped the headset off and dropped it on the desk. Silence exploded into the room. For a moment, I thought it was over. Just a malfunction. Just cross lines. Just audio bleed. But then my console lit up again. Incoming call. Same number. Same line. Same caller. I didn't want to answer, but my hand moved anyway, like it already knew the outcome. I pressed accept, and immediately there was no caller, just silence. Then my own voice spoke again, not through speakers, not through radio, through the room itself. Soft, close, right behind my right shoulder. You're not supposed to look yet. I froze, every muscle locked, because I realized something worse than fear. That voice wasn't imitating me. It was remembering me. I turned slowly. The room looked the same, but the reflection in the dark monitor screen behind me didn't move when I did. It stayed 1 second behind, smiling. Not my smile, a delayed version of it, like reality was struggling to keep up with something inside the system. The monitor flickered, and for half a second, I saw the dispatch room from a different angle. Empty chairs. Lights off, my seat still warm, but no one in it. I stepped back. No, I whispered. I'm here right now. But the room didn't agree, because the voice came again. From everywhere now. Not one place. Not one source. All dispatch units are currently offline. I shook my head fast. That's not true, I said. I'm still here. A pause. Then the voice responded gently, like it was explaining something simple to someone who didn't understand. You are the background noise now. My breath stopped. The monitors flickered again, and suddenly I saw it. My call log, scrolling backward, not forward, as if the system was remembering calls instead of recording them. One entry caught my eye, the one from earlier. The caller, 14 Willow Street. Status, unresolved. But under it, a note I had never seen before. Dispatcher present during incident. My hand started shaking, because I didn't remember being there. I didn't remember leaving the room. I didn't remember anything after answering the call. I turned slowly back to the headset. It was back on the desk now, placed neatly, like I had never touched it. And then it rang again. Same line, same caller, same breathing. But this time, Before I could answer, the caller spoke first. Except it wasn't the caller. It was me, from the other side. Don't let it finish speaking. I stepped back. What are you? I whispered. My voice answered instantly. You. A long silence filled the room. Then something changed. The air itself felt like it had split, and I realized I was no longer sure which side of the call I was on. The headset blinked once. Then the line reopened, and this time there was no caller at all, only breathing, right behind me, and I finally understood the pattern. The calls weren't coming in. They were looping through me, again, and again, and again, until I wasn't the dispatcher anymore. I was just the sound they left behind when the line stayed open too long. It started with one caller saying it, then another, then 3 more within the same hour, all of them repeating the same sentence in different voices, different panic, different places. There's someone with you. I remember pausing at my desk, staring at the blinking console like it had changed shape, because it didn't make sense. They weren't connected to each other. Different districts, different numbers, different emergencies. But every call ended the same way, like something had learned the pattern. I leaned into my mic. Dispatch confirms. Repeat your last statement. A woman's voice came through first, shaking, close to crying. I'm alone in my apartment, she said, but I can hear breathing behind me. I glanced around the dispatch room out of instinct. Empty chairs, flickering fluorescent light, the usual late-night silence. Ma'am, I said carefully, is anyone else in the room with you? A pause. Then she whispered. That's what I keep telling myself. Static cracked through the line, and then another voice pushed in. A man this time. Same words, same fear. There's someone with you. I frowned. Sir, confirm your location. But he didn't answer me. He was talking to himself now, like he wasn't sure if I was real. I locked the door, he said. I checked twice. There's no one here. Then a longer pause, and softer, but I still feel him standing behind me. My fingers tightened around the edge of the console. Something about the pattern felt wrong. Not just repetition. Coordination. Like the calls weren't separate anymore. Like they were becoming one thing speaking through different mouths. I opened the system logs. 3 active distress calls. All live. All overlapping slightly in timestamp. Impossible overlap. I keyed into the first one again. Ma'am, do you see anyone behind you? She didn't respond immediately. Instead, I heard movement. Slow, careful, like someone stepping back without wanting to be noticed. Then her voice came back. Smaller now. We don't want you to turn around. My throat tightened. We. I repeated, and that's when I noticed it. A second breathing pattern under hers. Not loud, not obvious, but there, sinking itself to her pauses. Like something was learning how to stay hidden inside sound. Ma'am, I said sharply, step outside your residence immediately. A soft laugh came through the line. Not hers, not human, just a breath shaped like amusement. And then a new voice layered over everything, whispering directly into the channel. You're helping it notice us. I froze, because that voice wasn't on the call. It wasn't part of any recorded line. It sounded like it was inside the system itself, inside the signal path, like it was speaking from between transmissions. I pulled the headset slightly away from my ear. What did you say? I asked. Silence. Then all 3 calls collapsed into one. Not disconnected. Merged. A single voice now speaking through multiple lives at once. There's someone with you. I stood up fast. Dispatch to all units. Confirm interference across civilian lines. But my voice didn't come out right. It felt delayed, like something was buffering inside me. The console lights flickered. Once, twice, and then all 3 calls changed status at the same time. Active, but no longer labeled as separate. Now they were labeled as shared event. I didn't understand what that meant. Not yet, but my stomach did. Because something about that phrase felt like a warning that had already been ignored too many times. Another call came in, then another, then 5 at once. All auto-routed to my console. No ringing pattern. No delay. Just instant connection. And every single one, said the same thing. There's someone with you. I grabbed the mic. Stop, I said. Identify yourselves individually. A man's voice answered immediately. I'm in my car. I pulled over because I saw someone in the back seat. A woman followed. I'm in my bedroom. I turned on the lights. I still feel him behind me. A teenager. I'm in the bathroom. I can hear breathing through the door. All of them speaking over each other now. Not random anymore. Structured. Like they were being guided into the same rhythm. And then something changed. All of them stopped talking. At the exact same time. A full second of silence passed. Then, the breathing started. Not from them. From the line itself. Slow. Close. Growing louder with every second. I leaned back from the console. My skin was cold. Dispatch to all callers, I said carefully. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage. A pause. Then every voice returned at once. But now they weren't panicking. They were calm. Too calm. And speaking in perfect unison. We already engaged. My screen flickered. And for a second, just a fraction of a second, I saw something else behind the call data. Not numbers. Not logs. But silhouettes. Standing behind each caller. Identical. Waiting. Watching. I blinked hard. And it was gone. But the feeling stayed. Like my brain had already accepted what my eyes refused to keep. I whispered, "Were you?" And the system answered. Not the callers. Not dispatch. The system itself. Flat. Official. Wrong. Presence detected across connected lines. I stepped away from my desk slowly. My chair creaked behind me, but I didn't remember touching it. The calls kept going, even without me responding. Now, they were talking to each other. Through me. Through the system. Through the space between channels. There's someone with you. There's someone with you. There's someone with you. The phrase repeated until it stopped sounding like words and started sounding like structure, like reality breaking into a pattern it couldn't escape. I turned off one channel. It came back instantly. I closed another. It rerouted itself. I unplugged the console feed. The room lights dimmed for a second. Then the speakers in the ceiling crackled, and all the voices returned there instead. Inside the room, not through equipment anymore, through air. I backed toward the door, slowly, careful not to breathe too loud, because I could hear it now. Behind me, not on the calls, not in the system, right behind me, breathing, matching mine. I didn't turn around. I couldn't, because I realized something I didn't want to understand. Every caller wasn't warning me about their situation anymore. They were describing mine, all of them, at the same time. I whispered, "I'm alone here." The breathing behind me paused, then responded, "No." A single word, simple, certain, and worse than anything before it, because it didn't sound like an intrusion. It sounded like correction. I stepped forward slowly, away from my desk, away from the screens. But the voices followed, not louder, closer, like distance didn't matter anymore, like everything was already happening in the same place. And then my console lit up one last time. Final status update. All active calls merged. One line, one signal, one message. There's someone with you. But now, it wasn't coming from the callers. It was labeled under my own extension. The radio didn't go silent. It just changed. The last caller's voice came in broken, like it was being pulled through water. I remember gripping the edge of my desk, staring at the blinking line that refused to disconnect. Then the voice said my name, not my call sign, not my title. My name, "Don't turn around." My throat went dry before I even understood the words. I wasn't even sure I had heard them right. The room behind me felt normal, chairs, old files, the hum of the station wall fan, everything in place. But the voice on the radio sounded too close, too aware. I leaned forward, whispering into mic, asking for identification, asking for location, basic procedure, my training, something to hold on to. Only silence answered. Then the static returned, heavier this time, like breathing inside the line. I pressed the headset tighter to my ear. That's when the voice came back. Not from the radio this time. From the speaker behind me. Clear. Inside the room. Don't turn around. My fingers froze on the console. For a second, my mind tried to make it logical. Speaker feedback. Cross-channel interference. Old wiring. Anything normal. Anything safe. But then I noticed something worse. The radio line was still open, and the voice was coming from two places at once. One inside the system, one inside the room. I swallowed hard and slowly turned my head just a little, just enough to check the glass reflection of the station window behind me. Empty, dark, but my reflection wasn't looking at the screen anymore. It was looking slightly to the left, like it was watching something I couldn't see. My heart started hitting too fast, too loud. I told myself it was exhaustion, long shift, too many strange calls tonight, kids, voices, impossible locations. But none of them had said my name. None of them had told me not to turn around. Then the radio clicked again. A new sound joined the line. Footsteps, slow, dragging, like something wet moving across a floor that shouldn't exist. And underneath it, breathing, not static, not interference, real breathing. I leaned forward, whispering, "Unit, confirm identity." My voice sounded weak even to me. The footsteps stopped. A pause followed. Too long. Too intentional. Then the voice returned. But it wasn't alone anymore. There were others behind it. Whispers stacking over each other like broken recordings. Some sounded like calls I had already taken tonight. Some sounded like ones I couldn't remember. And some sounded like me, saying things I don't remember saying. We already called. We already came. You already saw us. My chair creaked as I shifted without thinking. That's when the room temperature dropped. Not slowly. Instantly. Like someone had opened a door to winter inside the walls. The fluorescent light above me flickered once. Twice. And in that flicker, I saw something impossible in the corner of the room. A shadow. Standing where no one should be. Too still to be a person. Too tall to be natural. I didn't move. If I moved, I don't know what I was afraid would happen. Or maybe I did know. Maybe that was the problem. The radio crackled again, softer now, almost gentle. The voice spoke like it was right next to my ear. "You're close now." My mouth went dry. Close to what? No answer. Instead, the footsteps returned. Except now, they weren't coming through the radio. They were inside the room. Behind me, very slowly, very close. And I realized something that made my stomach drop. The footsteps matched my breathing. Every inhale I took, something behind me mirrored it. I forced myself to stay still. Every instinct screamed at me to turn, to run, to do anything except sit there listening. But something deeper kept me frozen. Like the air itself had weight now. Like the room was waiting for me to make the wrong choice. The radio hissed again. Then the voice changed tone. It wasn't warning me anymore. It sounded almost curious. "Why didn't you turn around before?" My fingers tightened on the edge of the desk. "What do you mean before?" A long pause. Then, "You did." My blood went cold. That sentence didn't make sense. It couldn't. I hadn't turned. I would remember that. I would, but then I felt it. A memory that didn't belong to me. A flash. My chair empty. The room darker. And me standing, facing something behind me. Something that made the air feel wrong just by existing. I gasped, pulling myself back into the present like I had fallen underwater. "No!" I whispered. That didn't happen. The radio responded immediately. It did. The lights flickered again, this time longer. And in that darkness between flickers, I heard something shift right behind my chair. Fabric, movement, too close. My whole body locked. I didn't breathe, didn't blink, because I understood something I didn't want to understand. Whatever was behind me, it wasn't arriving. It had already been here, and I had been talking to it, through every call, through every voice, through every report. My voice on the radio wasn't predicting anything. It was remembering. The footsteps stopped, right behind me. No sound now, just breathing, slow, patient, like it had been waiting for me to finally realize it was there. The radio gave one last burst of static, and then my own voice came through it. Perfect, clear, right behind me in tone. "You're going to turn around now." My throat tightened. I couldn't tell anymore which voice was mine, the one speaking, or the one behind me. My hand trembled over the desk. I stared at the blinking line on the console. Still active, still open, still connected to something that shouldn't exist. I whispered, "If I turn, what happens?" Silence. Then my voice again, but softer now, almost calm. "Then you'll remember the rest." The breathing behind me got closer, so close I could feel warmth against the back of my neck. And something inside me finally broke. Not fear, recognition. Like my mind had been holding a door shut for too long. My fingers lifted slowly from the desk. The radio crackled one last time, and every voice I had ever heard on that line spoke at once. Not in chaos, in perfect unison. "Turn around." My body moved before I could stop it, slowly, painfully, like I was pulling myself through something heavy and thick. The room twisted slightly as I turned. The desk, the chair, the glowing console, all of it slipping away from where I thought it should be. And behind me, there was nothing human waiting, just a shape, not standing, not moving, just filling the space like it had always been there, like it was the reason the room existed at all. Its presence pressed against my mind more than my eyes. And in that moment, I understood the calls. The child's voice, the footsteps, the future warnings, the missing officer. They weren't separate cases. They were the same moment, looping, repeating, waiting for someone to finally face it. The shape leaned closer, without moving. And the radio behind me, still on, still open, whispered one last thing in my own voice. You were the last one to answer. The lights died, not flickered, not failed, just stopped existing. And in the silence that followed, I wasn't sure anymore if I was still the one listening, or the one still calling.